how to get there, if you got an idea that you want to go somewhere, you don't even have to know where it is, but you got to start with the vision. And that puts some things in place. So I'm going to play this little video. That's why I told me about the Wi-Fi and about vision.
Where do you see yourself 5 years from today? What type of vision do you have? What type of destination do you have for your life? I want you to imagine a GPS system. When you put in a destination, it shows you how to get there. It gives you the directions to get to your destination. Well, your mind, body, and soul works the same way. If you don't have a destination for your life, you're just drifting through life, taking whatever life gives you. You're not a creator. You're not creating in your life. You're taking handouts. You're like a ship in the sea without a rudder. Wherever you end up in life, that's where you end up. That is your end result. Because you have no vision. See, vision is not something that you just see with your two eyes. Vision is what you feel in your heart when you think about your dream. That desire that pumps through you. That desire that pumps through your whole being. The reason why your heart beats for you. You don't got to think about your heart beating. Your heart just beats. Who will you become? What type of life do you want to experience? What type of person are you willing to become in order for you to manifest that vision? Your vision must be so massive that it must make you feel uncomfortable. When you share your vision with others, they must think you're crazy. You must find the reason why you exist. You must search your whole entire life if that's the case. You must search for your purpose. Why are you here on this earth? You must find the reason why you have life. And when you find the reason why you have life, you must create a massive vision. A vision that inspires you. A vision that motivates you. A vision that will give you a reason to wake your ass up early in the morning. A vision that will give you a reason to grind every single day. How bad do you really want an extraordinary life? What are you willing to do in order for you to experience that vision? You must understand how powerful your thoughts and your emotions are. Your thoughts and emotions are like Wi-Fi. See, you can't see Wi-Fi, but it works. You can't touch Wi-Fi, but it allows you to connect with someone across the world. Now, just because you can't see Wi-Fi does not mean it does not exist. Now, your vision, you may not be able to touch your vision. You may not be able to see your vision in reality. But I want you to know that your mind, your body, and soul is manifesting your vision based on the energy you give to that vision. You must take ownership of your life. You must take ownership of your dream, of your passion, of your desire. It must become real within you first before it shows up in reality. You must understand that you are a co-creator. You must understand that you are a manifester. That you, based on what you think, based on your beliefs, based on your faith, will determine what you manifest in your life. What type of life do you want to have? Who will you become?
Woo! Okay. Who will you become? Who will you become? Because here's the thing. Who you are today is not who you need to be who you want to be in the future, right? Not that who you are today is not good, because who you were yesterday got you to the person you are here today, right? So I know we have some great speakers coming up, and me just starting out in my business, and we have some vendors here with their businesses. Who you were yesterday, you had a vision of today. And so you did things that put you in a position to do the things you have today. So that's always a wonderful thing. But who do you want to become? And if your vision is big, your vision's got to be big and it's massive. So I see myself talking before thousands of people. Yes. You see the thing that you see the Joyce Myers, and you see that stadium is just full. Yeah, I see that. That's my vision. So today, thank y'all for beginning the vision.
All right.
Thank you for helping me be
Yeah.
the next person I need to be so that I can be, I'm going to have that technology down pat. You know why? Because I'm going to be able to hire somebody to do that. Hello. I'm not planning on learning it now. I'm going to have somebody who knows how to do it. That's how that goes. All right? So, but you've got to see. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, we listen. This is the family conference. So we say hi to everybody. Welcome. So glad you guys could make it. That's all right. You didn't miss too much, except my fabulous introduction. And you missed my technology faux pas. So I'm sorry you missed one of the best parts. So, but I'm glad. Thank you for coming. So yeah, who do you get to become? You are the manifester of your destiny. See, God gave us talents and gifts, right? And we are supposed to use them, okay? We're not supposed to sit on them. Sitting on them is nothing but a distraction, okay? As you keep your life safe and you keep it comfortable, you are sure to go nowhere. All right. So the thing is that yeah, we get to step into our dream. So first of all, your vision is big. It's got to scare you to death. Okay. I do butterflies. Everybody always said, they said, oh, you sounded like you were so confident. I said, just don't check under my arms. Okay? Because I'm sweating like it's like nobody's business. Yeah, I'm scared to death on death. But that's okay. Because I get to step in that. I have a choice. Because I can stay home and keep wishing. That's the difference between wishing and actually manifesting your dreams and your visions, right? So who do I get to be? So who I get to be right now for you guys is someone who can be an example of what it's like to live your vision. I get to share with you my joy. I get to share with you my information. I get to share with you a lifetime of experience. So a lot of times I used to say, I'm getting too old, maybe my time is past, right? And that's nothing but a lie, okay? Right? I was just telling one of the ladies that we're hanging out with this weekend, and I said, yeah, at one point in time I got rid of all of my long skirts because I saw this great picture of me in an outfit, and it was a cute outfit. I thought when I looked in the mirror it was cute, but when I had the picture, it was a long skirt and the little chiffon sleeves, and my hair was at that point down to here, so all I could do was have it in a bun. And I looked like I was 88 years old. I was like, out with the long skirts, okay? I ain't doing those no more, okay? Because the saying is, you're as young as you feel, and when you're living your passion, girl, I feel 25. I keep forgetting, and I will actually be 65 in August. Okay? Yes. Thank you. It's a wonderful thing, and I talked to God about it. So He's got about another 40 years for me to be able to do this. So we got time. We got time. But you get to be who you need to be. So do you need to be more kind? Do you need to pay attention to more details? Do you need to grow in knowledge in a certain area? Do you need to just get over your fears? Do you need to get over yourself sometime? Okay? So who do you get to be? Perspective. This perspective is king, but perspective is queen. There's always a different way of looking at something. Okay? So the person that cuts you off, you can look at them as an absolute jerk, crazy, then what does that do to your mindset? Good morning, come on in, you're MC. Who do you can look at them as, oh, that's a jerk. And where does that take your mindset? That's a jerk, I want to roll up on him, I want to do something to him, I want to kill him. Or you can say, you know what, they got issues. Or maybe they're on their way to an emergency. Maybe they just got a call that something happened and they're going somewhere, and you can just breathe and let that thing go. God bless you. Okay? Don't want to meet up with you down the road. So the perspective is really what you're looking at. And some of the big perspectives is scarcity versus abundance. So are you looking at your vision from a position of scarcity or a position of abundance? Sometimes they can get you to the same place, but the feeling, the joy is not going to be the same. So for an example, with me, I'm a registered nurse. I started out as a home health aide, and my mother was a nurse, and I had two aunts that were nurses, and my grandmother was an OR tech. So when my mother wanted to send me to nursing school in high school, I just thought that she was foolish and kept thinking that she couldn't think of anything else to do with me in my life, okay? So I did not want to be a nurse. And I did everything else. I decided after high school that I was going to be a chemical technologist. That sounded really important. It sounded good, right? And first semester in college, and I didn't do the chemistry. I was like, oh hell no! This is not going to be for me. I'm not seeing where this is working. And then as things go on, I ended up being a home health aide, and what I really fell in love with is being able to be connected with people and to help people from a health perspective, right? So fast forward, became an LPN, RN, and I'm in management, and this boss comes up one time and she decides, well, you know what, you don't have, I have my associate's degree, you don't have your bachelor's degree, so if you don't go back to school, you will have to give up your position. So I went back to school, got my bachelor's, and then I got my master's. I decided to get my master's because I said, I will not have anybody else tell me that I'm not qualified for a position. But that was really coming from a place of scarcity because I was reacting. I didn't get my master's because I wanted my master's, because I saw the value of what it was going to do for me for my life. I was doing it because I was protecting myself. And so many times we do things from a point of survival. We are a people, especially, that we have to survive, right? Because we've got a lot of things, let's be for real, that are kind of stacked against us, the way this country is set up. But we do have a God, okay? That allows us to have everything we do come from a place of abundance. So I did get my master's, and guess what? I never did nothing with it. Because when a position came up that in another company and they wanted to give me that position, I was like, nah. I got something else for the plan because this is when this vision was working, right? And I saw myself not sitting behind a desk and managing people. Now, did the knowledge I get from getting my master's degree help me? Absolutely. So it was no loss. And I always say there's no loss for any job you take. There's no bad job. It's only the job you won't do again. Right? So it's scarcity versus abundance. Why are you doing what you're doing? I am doing this not from a place of scarcity. I am doing this from the abundance of my heart, my life, that I get to share this stuff with you. So fear versus courage. You gotta, everything that's really gonna be big for you to manifest your vision is going to take courage. And you can't do it and be in a space of fear. So you gotta work on your fear. And this is what I call those mindsets, those chicken mindsets that will stop you from exercising that courage. And a lot of times we gotta look at who do we have courage in. Best line I'm working now is not my own, but it's working to be my own. And that is, I know who I am and I know whose I am. So I'm clear that this ain't all about me. It's about me, but it's not all about me. And that's how you have to look at your visions and your dream. It's about you, but it's really not all about you. Because why do you have the gifts and talents that you have? It's not just for you to hold on to. It's to bless other people. Right. So transformation is what you have to do to walk into your vision. So the art of it is through your mind, body, soul, and spirit. You've got to connect your mind. This is where we get to pull in the data. We get to analyze the data. We get to, put it in its compartments and see how it fits as a whole, right? And we bring our body into subjection. So yeah, when you don't want to get up and go to another conference, when you don't want to get up and do whatever you need to do to exercise your vision, then you get to change that. You get to tell your body, no, we're up and doing it. And the soul, as I said, the soul to me is the intersection between your mind and your spirit. Because God is spirit, right? So he talks to spirit. So you gotta have spirit, right? And then as he talks to our spirit, our mind, and our soul, because that inner soul is who you are. That's what makes you you. Okay, so my style, my experiences, how all of those things gel in here is within my soul. And God can talk to me. That he gave me chickens. You're gonna love the chicken. Because the chicken mindset, I needed a way to be able to teach what I knew. And he gave me chickens. Chickens, Father? Chickens?
Black people love chicken. All right.
Everybody loves chicken. Everybody. You go anywhere. You can't go any place there's not chicken on the menu, right?
Well, yeah.
But that's how he talks to me. He said, well, chicken. Oh, okay. So we get to connect, and so that you can listen and you can hear, so that you can hear what's for you. Now you get to take examples from other people, but you get to hear what's from you and touch your spirit. And this is what gives you your balance and your homeostasis. So we're like the caterpillar. So we're going in, and sometimes you gotta be still. Because let me tell you something, when I was trying to figure this whole thing out, I started actually incorporating in 2005. Okay, so I had a vision. I just telling Dr. Cass this morning, I was traveling with my computer bag, and I said, I bought that thing in 2005 because I had the vision that I was going to be traveling and doing my conferences. I had the vision. It's just happening now. God's funny about stuff like that, because if you sit and wait, he can't do nothing with you. If you're sitting still, you get scared. I do a little bit, and then I go, ooh, maybe that was good, that was good, that was good. Okay, go sit back, wait a minute. And so at one point in time, after I got to retire, early retirement, and I said, okay, now I'm going to that business full-time, 100%, because that was what I felt I was supposed to do. I wasn't listening. I wasn't asking, what should I be doing? And I said, and nothing was working. So I finally sat down and I said, okay. I said, well, God likes 30 days. They said, people say, change your life in 30 days, right? Oh, yeah, I can do that. 30 days, got it. I wait 30 days, nothing happened. Okay. I said, well, he likes 40. Did we have our wilderness 40 days and all that? 40 days, okay, I got you. God, 10 more days, we got it. Nothing happened. 15 months. 15 months. Because it wasn't until I got my priorities straight that I have to seek God first. And I have to ask him about what I'm supposed to be doing. How would you have me use these gifts and talents? My third grade teachers would be very surprised right now, because they used to always write home notes to my mother that I talk too much. Look at me now. That's right, I'm talking for a living, that's right. So sometimes you gotta take that time to be still. But make sure that the time that you're taking to be still is not being out of fear, but it's just out of contemplation and studying where you need to be. And then we get to be that butterfly. We get to transform ourselves. So mindset is attitude. It's your behavior, your makeup, ways of thinking. It's what makes you tick. So that's your mindset. But unsuccessful mindsets, they captivate. Okay? Things like poverty and everything, they captivate your mind. They make you think you've got to stay in a certain place before you can be, that you'll never be successful. So many of people have that this could never be for me. Who am I? Who am I? But you're God's chosen. That's who you are. And you have everything you need to do that. Strongholds. Those are deep. You'll never find out who you are if you don't take time to spend with yourself. So if you want to really know what's going on, what's captivating your mind, what's stopping you, for me, one thing was just a simple thing like television. I love TV. But then I thought about it one day. I was watching those housewives. And I was like, I would never live my life that way. I'm trying to get, I want some of the things that they may have, the nice houses, that go on the trips and do all of that. But if I gotta be with somebody that's gonna be cutting me down and backstabbing everything, I'm like, would be like, deuces, no. You know, I don't want that kind of life. So then why am I watching it? Why am I wasting my time? Wasting my time. What are you wasting your time on? So look, here, I want to just say one thing, and I know I only got a few more minutes, but if I say something to you, you know how we have call and response? So what happens when you're in church, right? So the pastor says something, you go,
Amen.
amen, right? Or else you might go, hallelujah, ouch, right? When you say ouch, yes, that too. You know, or we might just say, you know, we'll say hallelujah when it gets really good, right? Or like my grandfather used to do, he would go, well, right? So for me, one of my favorite sayings is I go, child. So let me hear you say, child. Yeah, because when I say something that resounds with you, you just go, child. Now, if it's an ouch moment and it's really stepping your church, you go, child, bye. So let me hear you say, child, bye. Child, bye. Child, bye. Wait, no, feel, child, bye. Yes. So, and that's just so that we can stay connected and everything, because you know what? We have to have those moments and connect with the information and everything. There's going to be something this whole entire day that's going to be for you, because there's no mistake that you're here. There's no mistake. There are no coincidences. You had to take action to actually get a ticket, say yes to somebody who offered you a ticket. You had to get on your transportation and do whatever you needed to do. I know some people, you guys just flew in this morning? Yesterday? Yesterday? Okay. So there's some people flying in just even today. So you had to take action. That action is what brings the energy to your vision. Okay? Sitting still will never bring energy to your vision. So unsuccessful mindsets start with your words. So I actually take this thing and I go backwards. If you want to hit your destiny, what are you here for? Because we're all here for a purpose. We're all here for a purpose. So if you want to get to your destiny, you have to understand your values. And if you understand your values will dictate your habits, right? And your habits start with how you act. So taking action today was a positive action for you taking the next step to your what's next. And the beginning is your words. It all starts with the words. Words is how we communicate. Words are what speaks to our soul. If you're listening to foolishness, that's what you're going to hear. That's what you're going to repeat, because that's what you're full of. When you're full of the positive, and you're full and you're communicating with other people who are positive, and the words that start gelling in your ears are, I am powerful, I am wonderful, I am magnificently made. Right? I am magnificently made. So when I look in the mirror, I can't feel unworthiness if I'm saying, I am magnificently made. And I keep hearing that. And when I talk to you, I hear, you are magnificently made. It is wonderful to see you.
Awesome seeing you.
Okay. So, see, how does that feel? That makes you feel, and that gives you energy. That gives you energy as to where you can go next. But we are on a schedule. I got my high sign going. So I am so excited that you guys are here. And we're going to get back to some checking your chicken. But we are going to get ready to have our next speaker, because we're going to keep this thing rolling. We got a day packed for you guys. And my goal is that you'll all walk away blessed. All right? All right. All right.
I have no rhythm whatsoever. If it's not a church meeting, I can't do that. But I am so excited to be here today. And I'm kind of old school, so I'm used to paper. I told my husband that, so I guess I got to get used to technology and give me an iPad or a tablet, because I like to write and read what I'm saying. But I thank Naomi for allowing me to come today and speak to you. I thank my husband for coming today and supporting me. Woo-hoo for the husbands, yeah! I'm here to talk to you today about the subject of Don't Count Me Out. My husband and I, we wrote a book that was actually published the end of last year, and we had our first book signing in February. But it stemmed from tragedies, things that happen that sometimes we go through and we seem like we're not going to bounce back from it. But we were all created to win, to conquer, to have dominion, to walk in abundance, to produce, to create. But life experiences will alter what we were created for. So, for instance, when we were born, we were all had a deposit in us to have dominion. You're supposed to go and conquer. Because in the Bible, in Genesis, it talks about go and produce, go and have dominion. But it seems like after we take our first breath, we go through life, things happen. And so, because if you're not taught, as she was saying, the mindset to be a conqueror, if somebody has always told you you'll never be nothing, you'll never amount to anything, you're just like your daddy, you're just like your mama, then that's what your mentality is going to be. You're going to feel like, I can't conquer anything, I can't be an overcomer, I can't have dominion over what? And so we wrote the book to let you know that you don't have to be counted out because of the circumstances that you come from. When somebody tells you you can't, then you should come back, I can. How can I? Because I have the mindset that no matter what obstacles I've been through, no matter what life has thrown me, I can still conquer whatever is put before me. Why? Because I have a conqueror's mentality. I have a victorious mentality. I have a mentality that I can overcome whatever is put in front of me. But the book stems from my husband. When he was growing up, he experienced molestation, he experienced having to eat out of trash, he experienced having to go shopping at a dump ground. And some of you may say, go shopping at a dump ground, that means I didn't have any clothes, and so the only place I could go was to a dump ground to see what I could find to put on. It came from him having to live with different people who abused him, who meant not just physically but mentally, who told him he was never going to be nothing, that he was ugly, that he was skinny. It stems from just seeing his mom beaten on a consistent basis, kind of just feeling like he had nowhere to fit in. And when you experience things like that, how many can attest that if you go through something long enough, you think that's what you are? If you never see any good happen in your life, then you're gonna think, oh, well, my life, I was just created for bad stuff to happen. My life experience, I can't say, oh, well, y'all have a pity party for me, because my childhood wasn't bad. I mean, I grew up in church. That's pretty much, I lived there. If I wasn't at school, I was at church. I mean, we didn't have a life outside of that. But I remember having identity issues because my father, he was around, and then when my grandmother passed, he wasn't around. And I always felt like I had to have a man in my life in order to validate who I was. I never felt like I was attractive, or I just needed somebody to tell me you're beautiful, because I didn't have that. I had a baby out of wedlock. I went to prison for 2 years. I had to be away from my family. And so when that happened to me, I felt like, okay, my life ends here. First of all, when I had a baby, I was just 19. Actually, I was 18. I was 2 days away from being 19 when I had her. And my dream was, when I left high school, I'm going to become a lawyer, I'm going to college. That was my dream. But then after I got pregnant, right after graduation, I felt like I can't go to college. I got to take care of my child. And I didn't want to be the type of parent that depended on my mama or depended on somebody else to take care of my child. That's what I wanted to do. And so life just happens. But after being in prison, and I just decided it has to be more. And that's kind of the same thing that happened to my husband. His experience was he had started, after he got a certain age, I think it was 17 or 18, he decided, okay, I want to be on the street. So he started gang banging, he started selling drugs, smoking drugs, just doing whatever it is that he felt like he was grown enough to do. And for me, I was still in church, but still kind of just doing my own thing. And so, but what happened is, one day we had a mindset reset. And what happened for my husband was, it was his birthday. He was getting ready to go out and party, and he can tell it best. He had, his story is he had a pocket, his two front pockets had gin. He had gin in the back pockets, and then had already smoked weed before he even drunk all the liquor he had in his pocket. But he said he was getting ready, and he was waiting on some of his friends, and it was a guy outside preaching. And he decided, well, you know, because he had a church background too, he grew up in church, so he's like, I'm gonna just go over here and see what they talking about, you know, while I'm waiting on my friends. He got over there, the man preached to him, and the man asked him, can I lay hands on you and just pray for you? He was like, oh, sure. Well, when he laid hands on him, he didn't know that at that moment his life was going to change. When he laid hands on him, he received salvation, and from that day until now, he hasn't been the same. He changed. From there, he was living in the projects. He moved, because a lot of times the reason why we can't move forward is because of who we're hanging with. If you're hanging around people that don't want anything out of life, then you're not gonna see past where you are. If you hear negativity all the time, and it was powerful, because I was just thinking, sometimes your dreams sound so crazy that if in your environment it seems impossible. But as she said, there's nothing impossible with God. Why? Because we're all created to be great. We're all created to walk in our purpose. We're all created to walk in our destiny. But if we never take hold of what we're supposed to walk in, then we'll see another wasted life, sitting what I coulda, I shoulda, or it ain't for me, or it's for that person, or you sitting back envious and jealous of other people because you didn't decide to walk in your calling or your destiny, and they did. But he decided, okay, I'm going to get away from the people who don't have a change of mind. So he moved out of that environment. He got into church. He went back to school. He got his high school diploma. He married a pretty lady. And he's been married for 22 years. He had 3 kids, 2 grandkids. And then from there, he got, 5 or 6 different kind of certifications, refrigeration, AC, pool, I don't know all. He tries to tell me, but I can't keep up. But he has all these certifications. But had he not had that change experience, that reset mind, he would still be doing the same thing. He sometimes goes back to that same area that he lived in, and some of those people that he grew up with are still doing the same thing at 50 years old. So you have to have a mindset rechange. You have to change your mind. And for me, and I don't want to stop and say that, but he also has been a pastor for 11 years. And so we kind of share some of those same experiences outside of, I had my high school diploma, but I did go back to school and get my associates. It didn't come easy, because you have so many obstacles in your way that'll tell you can't accomplish it. It's too hard. And finally, I just had to make up in my mind, and was like, I'm going to do it. And when I did, I accomplished it. The same way with the book. I've been writing on this book probably for almost 20 years. And my mom said, when are you going to finish the book? What do you need? But it wasn't until I said, okay, what do you want? Do you want to just be, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to write a book, and you never do it? And so it happened. In a couple of months, I'll have a CD that's coming out with songs, because that was also a desire that was in me. And so from that, I've learned that you can't, and this is a phrase I heard about 5 years ago, and it really stuck with me. Do not allow anyone to frame your world. When you allow someone else to frame your world, they'll always frame it too small. What do you mean by that? Well, because my husband came from the projects and he was gang banging and he was selling drugs. Well, what they would frame for him is he's going to prison or he's going to die. Then that's it. There's no salvaging. There's no him coming out. That's how society framed his world. But he decided to frame his world by saying, I won't change. I don't want to be in this. I don't want to live like this anymore. So I'm going to frame my world where I'll live to see my children be grown. I'll live to see my children have children. I'll leave an inheritance. I'll leave a legacy. But when we allow people to frame our world by our circumstances, by what we've gone through, then they'll always frame it too small. Why? Because they're not you. They don't know what you were created for. They don't know what that gift is that's lying dormant in you. The Bible, it talks about stirring up the gift that's in you. You have to stir it up. If you never stir up what's in you, it's gonna fall dormant. If you never stir up your mindset, if you never stir up those passions, those things that's on your heart, that's a burden, that drives you, that pushes you. If you allow it to lie dormant, it'll never go anywhere. But you have to stir it up. What is it? What am I passionate about? What is it that I really want to do? Whose life can I change? Because as she forestated, your dream and your vision is not just about you. Who's connected to your dream? All of us have had a job. If you may be self-employed now, but all of us have worked for somebody else. They had a dream. The reason why they was able to hire you is because they had a dream. Tyler Perry, all of his plays, he had a dream. He was homeless, but he had a dream that I'm going to make this play. That play turned into movies. And now he has so many movies and under his belt. Why? Because he had a dream. But who's connected to his dream? Tamala Mann been singing for years. But she connected with him. Now she's on the map. She's singing all over the world. Who's connected to your dream? Who's connected to your destiny? It's not just about you. And a lot of times we sit on our dreams and our visions because we think it's about us. We think we're not good enough because one day somebody told you your dream was too big, you will never accomplish it, or they told you you're not educated enough, you're not smart enough, you're not beautiful enough. But I'm here to tell you today, reset your mind.
All right.
If you reset your mind and start thinking, I can do this, I'm able to do it. And like she said, it may not even start out the way you want it to be, but the end result is that you got up.
All right.
See, a lot of times we don't move forward because we won't get up. When we started our ministry from zero. That means we didn't have no potential members. We went out recruiting other people members, but we said, God, if you called us, then you're going to produce, you're going to provide. And that's what he did in 11 years. And we've known people who started the same time after us, 5 years after us. Some people started last year and they've already quit because they couldn't handle the pressure. But what are you built for? See, sometimes we think that, oh, well, this is, because you have some people that's tagging along with you because they want to ride on your dream. It's your dream, but because they don't have a dream of their own, they want to attach themselves to you. But when you really start progressing, those people get jealous. Or they'll try to duplicate what God called you to do, and then it doesn't work. Why? Because they wasn't built for it. But whatever passion, whatever it is that has been put and placed inside of you, you're built for it. You know how Ford is say built strong? They've been around for a lot of years. Why? Because it's not because they got everything right. How many of you heard of the Ford Focus? When they first started that, it was breaking down every other week. They're like, don't buy no Ford. And my husband often says, found on the road dead. So that's what, but even in that, Ford has produced some good stuff. You got the F-150, you got the Taurus, you have but the thing is, they didn't quit because some of their cars were found on the road dead. They just said, hey, let's figure out what this problem is so we can fix it. So whatever it is that may be stopping you, holding you back, whatever it is that it doesn't look like, or you tried it but you failed, or you tried it and it was like, well, it could have been better, or somebody said, well, yeah, you know, you tried it, but you should have did it like this, or you should have done it like that, or why? No, girl, you just need to go. No, What are you built for? Because what your dream is, what your desire is not what somebody else's is.
All right.
And I want to end with this. Do not allow other people's negativities and their thoughts stop you. So many times I see so many people get jealous and envious because somebody is living out their dream. And then they'll talk about you and put negative thoughts in you because they don't want you to follow their dream because they don't have one. Well, I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know what else to tell you. But I have decided to change my mindset to understand I don't have to be where I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Matter of fact, I don't even have to be where I was a month ago. Why? Because I have a changed mind and I understand that there's more. See, a lot of times we settle again because of lack of knowledge. We don't know anybody that has, per se, like me. I may not have known an author. Well, that doesn't stop me from writing a book. Well, I don't have the money to pay somebody to edit and all this. You know what I did? I said, I don't have the money, but I'm not going to let it stop me. I found out all the resources and did it myself. Everything, from the copywriting, I never had anything copywritten, but I went and researched. Google is your friend these days. Whatever you need to know. So just because you may not be connected to somebody that has already lived out your dream doesn't mean you wasn't called for it.
All right.
That just means you may have to work a little bit harder, but it doesn't mean that he didn't call you. It doesn't mean that whatever your purpose is not your purpose. And so I just want to tell you today, don't let people count you out because of your past. Don't let people count you out from where you come from. Everybody's how they grew up is not ideal. Some people, you may have had alcoholics, you may have had, your daddy may have been gone, your mama may have been gone, they may have given you away, you feel like you are abandoned, somebody may have to adopt you, you may even grew up in a foster home, but that does not define who you were created to be. That was just a circumstance of life.
Amen.
But because and I'm sorry, and I told my husband, I said, I don't really even know how to be out of my
World, look, I feel you shaking.
Yeah.
But that's how good it is. You talk about stepping into your vision.
Come on.
For helping others, and she's the CEO and founder of Big League Executive Coaching, LLC. And she lives in St. Louis, Missouri. So hailed by St. Louis, Missouri. She's on the international right now because I don't have anybody outside of the country. But we're the international conference here. Okay? And she also is the CEO of Share My Kicks Foundation, a nonprofit organization. Both of them got their start because of Arnika's great passion for helping others to achieve their personal and professional success. And she has a great passion working with youth and adults in order to help them thrive, even faced with the greatest adversity. Do you think we're having a theme here? That stuff happens in your life, but you can get through it. And when you're on that other side, it's a wonderful place. So her educational background is solid with her following degrees. She has a BA, MA, and a PhD. So she is known as Dr. Rowe.
All right.
I love that.
All
I love
right.
that. I love that's right.
Yeah.
See, I don't get my story about education being mixed up because it's where it's coming from. Because education is good, because you always should be a forever learner, right, Dr. Rowe? She also hosts, she is currently leading a library renovation project over in Nigeria and has collected over 10,000 books to fill the shelves. She's also created a reading and mentoring program for 10,000 children that will utilize the library. She is the host of the Now You Know Dr. Rowe motivational segment for Mix 99.5 radio show, which provides daily encouragement over the airwaves. So I am excited to introduce to you the infamous Dr. Rowe. All right.
First off to God, because he created all of this awesomeness, right? And to my parents for doing an amazing job raising me. My mom was a single mom, and she did amazing things, sacrifices that she made to get me, I should say, where I'm at today. So, you know, I'm very humbled and honored to have such an amazing mom. And also to my dad, he wasn't in my life until I was 18, but how many people know that when God works it out for you, he really works it out for you? So that I'm happy to say that my father is actually a big part of my life as well. So thank you to those three amazing people. And then also 3 children, Malachi, Rand, and Riley. They're in school right now, but you know, it's important to have a good support system. So that same lady I was just telling y'all about, mama, got the key. And it allows me to travel and let God use me, okay? So you can't bite the hand that feeds you. Learned that a long time ago. So mama taught me that, and also my children are my reason why. So if you don't have a reason why, you need to find one. Your reason why will get you up in the morning, it will keep you going, and it will keep you motivated, okay? And lastly, y'all see that fine man right there recording? Okay, so ladies, it's important to wait on your man that God has for you. Not the one that you choose, but the one that God will send for you, right? Because I was divorced, had 3 kids, and I've been doing this all on my own for 3 years, right? And I've done at least, I'd say, 20-something conferences speaking. Not one single time has anybody been right there recording me, supporting me. Right? So this is an amazing day, not only for me, but thank you for coming out and being here to see me on today, okay? So you guys are like, dang, Dr. Rowe, why you high-fiving everybody? Well, listen, it was a guy that was at a conference one time, and he was standing out in the hallway, and I walked past him, and he said, young lady, is this the conference? And I said, yeah, we're going in the inside in a little bit. And he was like, well, I don't really want to go in. And I said, well, why you don't want to go in? He said, because I don't like being around people. It breaks my nerves. I just got to stand out here, and when it's time, I go in. I said, well, don't be like that. Like, you know, this is a positive environment, you know, and what you push off, people get that. So I had already saw that he was kind of distancing to himself, but sometimes God will put people in your heart for a reason. So I stopped him and I said, you know what? It's about your demeanor and your mindset. So if you already in the hallway saying that this is already a bad experience, when you go inside, you're going to carry that same mindset on the inside. So what we have to do right now is to shift your mindset right here, right now. You ready? He said, who are you? I said, I'm Dr. Rowe. And he was like, well, Dr. Rowe, what you mean? And I said, well, here's the thing. You put your thoughts in your head, right? Because the thoughts that we have, they continue to bother us all day long. We can say we're hungry. And then 2 hours later, if you haven't ate, what's going to happen? That thought will come back up. Your stomach will start talking to you, and eventually, but you have to control those thoughts. You have to give action to those thoughts. So if you're saying that you can't do something already, that's what's going to carry on throughout your day, throughout your actions and things. So I told him to challenge yourself, to change that. So eventually, he came on in the inside, and he was like, okay, I'm in here. Let's see how this is going to go. Because Dr. Rowe said, I said, okay, well, you're going to have a good time, trust me. But then when it was my turn to get up and speak, I did everybody the same way. Come on, get on up. Let's get this positive energy going. Because what you radiate out, what you push out, is what people receive from you. So if I'm a positive person and I'm pushing out positivity already, as soon as y'all touch it, y'all got it. Y'all didn't even know that y'all got it.
All
But
right.
that's what you have to do. You have to start how you want your session to go immediately. So that high five, y'all didn't know. I prayed in the back. I already told God, give it to him. Little sprinkles of positivity all in y'all. So y'all can receive that in y'all spirit, in y'all heart, and y'all remember to take that with y'all. So when he got it, he didn't even know. He was sitting there, he was like, oh, I'm high-fiving people. And he started smiling, and then he sat down, and I was watching the whole time I was speaking. I was like, got my eye on you, like, you better smile. And he was looking, and I saw him. He took his little notes out, and he was into it, right? But that's what you have to do. So he eventually came up to me after the conference, and he said, you know what, Dr. Rowe? I don't know, that high five thing you did was all right, sister. I really did appreciate that. Okay, so that's why I start off all of my events with a high five, to give y'all that positive energy. Okay, so my name is Dr. Rowe again, and I have a book that's coming out called I Can, I Will, I Am. So that's what I want to talk to you guys briefly about today. And we all know that I can. We've heard that so many times in our life, right? But what else have we heard? I can't, right? And like the lady was saying in the back, a lot of times people tell you what you can't do all the time. Oh, I want to start a business. The first thing you hear out of somebody's mouth is, well, why? Why you want to start a business? It costs money. Do you have this? Do you have that? And before you know it, you get bombarded with all of these negative thoughts, right? So the I can part is just knowing that you can do what? What did God tell us we can do? All. Right? In that Philippians verse, right? 4:13. So that's a verse that I had to learn at an early age. My mom taught me that so young. I think I was like 3 or 4. And she would always say, you can do all things through Christ that gives you strength, right? So I carried that in my heart. So let's fast forward to, let's see, freshman year of high school, right? Y'all see all of this? This is like skinny for a reason, right? Because I was an athlete. I played soccer, right? And soccer for a black girl was kind of like unheard of. Y'all know any black soccer players growing up?
Yeah.
In high school? Okay, so I was like the only one, literally. And so doing that, it caused a lot of controversy, I would say, amongst my peers. Not because my family didn't support me. My mom already knew she had a winner. She was like, look, boo, this soccer thing is going to be for you. And I was like, okay, I'll try it, mama. I don't know. But I got out there and I was amazing. I was quick. You know, I could take the ball down and score like no other, right? So I thrived in that. That was something that she gave me that was not smoking weed, not doing drugs, not out doing things that I wasn't supposed to do. So I gravitated to that positive event that I was doing. So fast forward to soccer tryouts. Y'all with me now? So I'm going, I'm all excited. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play soccer for my high school, Hazelwood Central, class of 01. I know y'all watching that. So they'll hate me if I didn't give them a shout out. So got my soccer uniform on, and I'm walking around school. They're like, Nick, that's my nickname, Nika, right? And so they're like, Nick, what you playing? What's all of them shin guards? Where you going? And I forgot, like, I'm introducing a new concept to people. So how I introduce it is how they're going to get it, right? So I'm all excited about it. I'm like, it's soccer. Like, soccer? Black girls don't play soccer? What you doing? Like, you finna get your own on? Oh, man, we ain't trying to be with you. And I'm like, what? They get your own on. They're like, where are you from? I was like, man, you mean to tell me that black girls don't play soccer? You better pick basketball, volleyball, or track. You got 3 options, but soccer, let it go. And so once you hear those thoughts, what are you trying to do? I mean, I'm 16. I'm like, what do I do? Because this is something that I've been doing since I was 6. And now I'm 16, and somebody telling me, you can't do it. So I received that negative energy, right? And I was processing it the best way I could. I still walked around like, I'm playing soccer. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm finna do this. But then it started to bother me. You know, throughout the day, you can see that positive spirit start to dwindle down to a bare nothing. Like, I don't even want to try out no more. You see how the devil will try to come up and sneak into there? But you can't allow him to do that. But unfortunately, I did at that moment. So I went to the soccer tryout, right? I sat on the top of the hill, and this is a day I'll never forget, because it's life changing, right? Y'all still with me? So we on the top of the hill, right? I'm seeing all the white girls just playing soccer, they happy, they doing it, and I'm sitting there, arms crossed, like, I ain't gonna do it. I can't do it. And so then tears start to cry. Those tears start to come down my face. And I was like, man, I'm really about to give up on something that I had put my all into. My mom knew I was going to have scholarship. She told me about it. She put that seed in my head, saying, you stick with this, man. Because it's not a lot of black girls that's playing soccer. That's what's going to make you different. You stick with it. I heard her in the back of my head, but then I heard somebody else. All my friends like, Mama wrong. Don't listen to Mama. You over there. Go let your butt have it. And I said, okay, listen to my friends. I didn't go down there and try out. Got on the bus, was sitting there, everybody like, Nika, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. I can't even try out. They was like, you ain't try out? I was like, no, I didn't. Got home, walked in the house, my mom saw me. Instantly, you know mamas know. You can't try to hide nothing from mama. You come in the house, mom's like, baby, what's wrong? And I said, nothing. She said, have a seat. How did soccer trials go? I didn't try out. What? Excuse me? You didn't try out? Why not? I said, well, because my friends. Oh no, have a seat for real. Let's talk. And I said, my friends told me that soccer isn't for me. It's not for black girls. That you can't make it in soccer because everybody in the whole school will drown on you. You will be made fun of. I didn't want to risk that. You know what I mean? So my mom said, you know what, baby? Remember when I always used to tell you what? You can do what? All things through Christ that strengthens you. So you have to remember when your parents plant those seeds in you at a young age, that's because they know that when you get older, you're going to have to draw on them. You're going to pull them, those things will come up in your spirit, and you'll start to remember things that mama told you that made sense. Be home when the street lights come on for a reason. So now I'm telling my girls, I know what goes on when the lights go on. So yeah, it makes sense now, right? So then she told me another important thing that I'll never forget. She said that as long as you live, you cannot let somebody determine your destination. Because that's not their business. Only person that can determine your destination is you and God. And if God said you can go far, He made you the head and not the tail. Then why are you minimizing yourself, daughter? You go out there the next day and you show them what you got. And not only will you be the best soccer player that you can be, you go out there and make an example, because that's what God has chosen you to be, an example. And if you are an example, think of how many people's lives that you will change just from your actions to be determined to go above the obstacles that's in front of you right now today. So you have an opportunity today, my daughter, to make a stand. Stand for what you want, because if you don't stand today, you will fall tomorrow. And I said, damn, mama. Ooh, she done worked all of that stuff up. I'm slinging chairs. Get the tissue. Wipe your face. You are beautiful. Don't let anybody tell you different. So the next day, I went back out to the soccer field. Walked up to the coach and said, I'm ready. You ain't got to worry about nothing. And he said, I heard about you. I've been watching you since junior high school. So I was about to, he said, I saw you up on the hill. I was going to go get you. But something told me, no, she'll be back. So while I was trying to quit on something, my coach already knew I was coming back. He was waiting on me. So sometimes you have to get over your own self. You got to get out of your own mess sometimes. So now I'm down on the field. I'm trying out. So not only did I make the freshman team, I made the junior varsity. So it's like you have to say yes to you. So once you make a determination to say yes to you, that's when life started to happen for me. So that's when I created the I can, I will, I am mindset. So I can do anything not because I said so, not because mama said so, not because daddy, grandma, auntie, all of them love you, right? They'll all tell you, but because I said so, right? So you be determined to make that happen for yourself, okay? The I am, everybody heard of I am, right? I got a little statement for I am. Let me pull it up for you. So, I am. It's two of the most powerful words for what you put after them shapes your reality. Okay? So, I am, powerful statements. and she did a wonderful job with them. I am powerful. I am beautiful. And you guys heard of mirror time? Anybody? No, y'all haven't heard of it. Or she said she have. But listen, I made this up. Now, a lot of times you can hear mirror time, but it depends on what you, how you describe it, I should say. So my mirror time is anytime I wake up in the morning. Y'all know when y'all wake up in the morning, y'all look in the mirror, you about to brush your teeth or wash your face, but you see the real you. It's no makeup, it's you. You're in your rarest form. That's when you have an opportunity to talk to yourself, encourage yourself. Those positive affirmations, you need to get some if you don't have them. So I look in the mirror every day and I say this. I found this when I was in high school, and I've always repeated it to myself. Don't ever give up. Don't let frustration knock you down. Don't let fear stand in your way. Don't let time get in your head. Who cares how long it takes or how many times you try? Your only competition is yourself. And when you finally succeed, guess what? It's going to be worth it. That is so powerful. And so, once you get in your mirror time in the morning, you understand that it's you facing the day. You get to determine if you're going to have a great day or not. Don't give that power to anybody else. Do not. You own it. Okay? So somebody say, mindset reset.
Mindset reset.
Draw the end off a little bit. Put some space on it, right? Mindset reset.
Mindset reset.
Okay, so the last part is the will, right? Because we have willpower to do what we want in life. So your will has to be stronger than any excuse that you could ever come up with, right? So even on that soccer field, my willpower had to be bigger than me getting on the bus, me crying all those tears and all of those things to get to the point where not only did I play soccer in high school, guess what else God did? That scholarship Mama told me about, got it, 4 years, college paid for.
Awesome.
And the money that she was going to pay for my college, guess what she bought me? So now, you see how God do it? Won't he do it? Won't he do it? So now I'm in college playing soccer as a black girl, right? Wearing my jersey proud, wouldn't it would? So wearing a jersey proud, playing soccer, doing something I love, being passionate about the things that I want in life, driving a new car, doing it, right? And so not only did I do that, I was determined to keep going all the way to the PhD level. Not for me, because somebody else said it's not for you, it's for your future. So I thought about all my little cousins that say what they can't do. I thought about all the other little black girls, white girls, Chinese girls, everywhere that say that they can't do something because they came from a single parent household or because their dad wasn't there. You can do anything you put your mind to. I'm a witness of that today. So I'm able to go across the country, been to Africa for 2 weeks paid, eating crab legs with kings, building libraries for kids, like doing amazing things, all because I determined way back that I can. Okay? So if you remember 3 things today, what are you going to remember? I can. I can. I can. I can. I will. I will. And I am. I am. Dr. Rowe, thank you guys.
Learning and going through things and falling down, getting locked up. I'm talking about getting fired from jobs and, you know, my dad telling me to go get a job and I was trying to do other things. So I always thought about when we were in school and we used to get like color contests and we used to get like things to color and stuff like that. Like I remember coloring a bear and you know, I wanted to color my bear blue, but the teacher was trying to tell me, you know, the bear is supposed to be brown. So, you know, I was trying to be creative, and I didn't understand where she was coming from. And all the other kids, they, you know, they were coloring, you know, pretty much what the teacher was telling them to do. And, you know, the teacher was pretty much there in school to be able to teach that curriculum, you know, the color or whatnot. But they were trying to direct me on what color to color my bear. I was coloring all types of colors. But I noticed when I walked in, they got a cow or a bull or something like that, and it's all types of colors. But what happens is, you know, we, like, at a young age, we get kind of, you know, locked into the mindset of doing what somebody else told us to do in the way they told us to do it. And when I got older, I didn't, understand it till then. I was like, you know what? That's the problem right there. We're being told what to do from their perspective. We're not being told how to be creative. I didn't have a teacher that could tell me how to be, an entrepreneur, be creative, do whatever you want to do. We was always told to, go to school, get a job, do good. And I took that and I kind of compared it to, where I was going in life, because I tried to do things that way. So, as I got older, I started realizing that, I got to go get a job. So I did that. That's what I was told to do. But I realized that job wasn't paying my bills and it wasn't doing certain things. So, the friends that I had around me, they were working too. So I didn't, I thought I was doing the right thing. So if I needed more money, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get 2 jobs, because that's all I knew. My parents, they pretty much, worked. I didn't have that entrepreneur father in my life. I didn't have really my father in my life at all. I didn't meet my father until I was actually 18 years old. And, he was actually doing, entrepreneur type stuff. So I was like, okay, he's about to teach me what he's doing. I didn't get no knowledge from that. He put me to work. So, so me coming up, like I said, I was washing cars when I was about, 23 years old, and I knew that I'm the one out here washing all these cars. And I'm like, the lady that owns this place, the guy that owns this place, they come here every now and then, they bounce. So I was like, I'm watching all these cars, I'm meeting all these people, I'm actually building this car wash. Because when people come, my friends come, they're like, hey, you at work today? I'm like, yeah, come through. So I noticed that they wanted to make me a manager like in a short period of time. I was only there for like 40 days and they wanted to make me a manager. So it started speaking to my spirit, and I was like, you know what, I have something more, I have something else in me, I had people come through the car wash, was like, what you doing working here? You need to be doing something else. And they was trying to, pull me out of the car wash, but I was stuck in that car wash. I was comfortable. I was, making a little money, but I wasn't making the money I wanted to make. But I knew nothing. Like, it's like, what you know is pretty much what you do. And I just had to really have a mindset shift, a mindset change, a reset. And I had it later on in life, though. I knew I was going, kind of in the right direction, but I knew it was something else needed to be done because, I had bills. I had moved out of mom's house and I started trying to take care of myself with the car wash job I had. But as me paying, a car note, I'm paying rent, I got insurance, I got so I'm like, when it's time to hang out with my friends, I ain't got no money. So I was like, it's something else to this that I wasn't being taught or I wasn't being told that needed to happen. And it's still going on today. And then I started learning about inflation. I'm like, okay, man, the price is going up on stuff too. So I started paying attention to little things. And when I started paying attention to those small things, I knew it was really, really more that I had to do. But I already had it in me. God already put inside of us, the power that we need, the strength that we need, the guidance. All we got to do is get up and work. If we don't get up and work, God will throw it at you and make you get up and work. He will throw an extra bill at you. He will throw an extra problem at you. So you can use that power and that knowledge and resources to get up because he knows that you need something to get moving, right? So he'll throw trials and tribulations so you can use that power. So I learned that over time, and I just basically started learning about entrepreneurship. So I started learning about entrepreneurship and trying to be an entrepreneur, and now, I'm able to have a, real estate brokerage office in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm able to actually show younger kids and younger individuals at a younger age what I wasn't taught, hey, you can color that bear blue, you can, color that, yeah, you can be creative, I ride down the highway and I see Chick-fil-A, they got the cow climbing up the signs. So I'm like, okay, you can be creative. We can do anything we put our minds to. We can achieve anything. So, with that car wash job being in my life, it really taught me a lesson because I actually started seeing the money that was coming in that she was making as an entrepreneur. I was like, I need that type of money, because as a manager, I'm out there, getting that money taking it in and counting it for her. I'm like, I could be doing all this for myself, you know? And it really woke me up that day I went out there to put that money in that machine, and the guy came running at me, and I was being robbed right then and there, and I didn't know what was going on, you know? And that hit me, that changed my life right then and there, and I was trying to change my life anyway in the process, but I ran slap out the way when I seen that guy coming, and all I heard was feet running, you know, feet running. So I knew I had to run. So ever since I ran, I've been running. I left that job, man. They was trying to control me, and I knew back in school they was trying to tell me not to color the bear blue. But they was telling me at my job, I was like, you can't roll your sleeves up. They was trying to keep me from curling my hair. They was trying to keep me. So I was like, okay. Now I'm at an older age, and I know it's a problem because they're trying to tell me I can't do that, but it has nothing to do with me washing these cars. You know what I'm saying? So I put two and two together. That's all we got to do is put two and two together, because some people, they think one-sided. You know, you ever had somebody pretty much tell you something, and then they kind of like, you know, or you try to tell them something, or they'll try to come back with like a reply or stuff instead of really understanding what you're trying to say. You know, you have those type of people that think one-sided. So I just started basically thinking with two sides of the brain, you know, and putting two and two together, and I started achieving things more faster in life, and I started making more money because I started putting action towards the creative things that I wanted to do. You know, I knew that, you know, people were going to find jobs and things of that nature, and they wanted to do this, they wanted to be a real estate agent, and they wanted to, you know, sell products and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? It's more to it. You know, you can be an attorney, but somebody owns a law firm too. So I was like, you know, you can do more. It's just you got to have the resources. Like the beautiful lady and her husband in the back said, you know, Google is your friend nowadays. You can do the research. You may not know what to do or how to do it, but you can actually just take advantage of opportunities with the power of the internet. So I'm going to end it right there, guys. I just want y'all to take that with you. You can do anything you want to do. You can achieve anything. Don't let nothing hold you back. You know, I'm here as an example, as a witness. You know, like I say, I learned, like when I was 22, that's when I started getting into issues because I wanted more money. So I started falling, I started taking risks. You know, I got locked up and this like that because I'm chasing more money now. But it helps you learn. You learn from your experiences. You know right from wrong. You know what not to do. But just step out there, step on faith, and keep having it, and just keep going, and keep just coming together collectively. I love what we got going on here, and this is beautiful, and that's my time. I'm Brandon Worthy, and I appreciate you guys.
I get to be the person to introduce fabulous people on my stage. Come on. That's just awesome. I'm meeting people who are doing it. They have the mindset of wanting to be better. My first chapter that I wrote in the first book, my first experience with writing was, I wrote a compilation, so I wrote a chapter in a book, and it was called Second Chance Living, Out of the Darkness into the Light. And basically what they did was give you the title, and you wrote the chapter. I was blessed enough for my chapter to be the first chapter in the book, and it was entitled, When We Know Better, We Can Do Better. And this is about doing better, knowing better, so we can all do better. So coming to that, I got you somebody fabulous. All right. She's taking care of your money matters. Hey. I got my pen and paper in the back. She's getting ready. There's your thing there. Wait, let me get her set up here. Because this is Miss Tiara Davis. Start the slideshow from the beginning. Okay. She is providing savvy strategies for financial success. She is a finance coach, motivational speaker, and influencer. Okay? Tiara has years of financial experience ranging in project management, financial analysis, budgeting, banking, and business development. Her experience as a corporate professional and business owner allows her to bring savvy saving strategies. Her clients trust her methods and value her expertise. Her corporate industry experience includes nanotechnology. Okay, y'all gonna find out about what that is. Logistics, defense, and manufacturing, where she has worked directly with CFOs and executive teams on various operating and financial activities. Tiara is currently a senior financial analyst for an oil and gas company in Fort Worth, Texas. You talk about I get to know people. Okay, so I want you to welcome, give a big round of applause, Miss Tiara Davis!
They just freak out, right? They're like, okay, no, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about money. I don't want to talk about bills. But this is something you guys should be excited about, because I'm going to teach you savvy strategies for your own financial success. Okay? So thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank my friends and family for coming all the way from Texas, and my lovely boyfriend for coming from Florida to be here. So I really appreciate you guys' support. So let's get started. Naomi, I'm having technical difficulties. It's not changing. It's working here, it's just not flowing here. Or maybe you need to start slideshow. I think there's two windows. Guys, I am not tech savvy. I work for a nanotechnology company. I was not making the software.
Let's close up some of these things. Yeah, that's probably why. So it's probably showing up something else. I think that's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Click the little
We have a tech person in the room.
I know, my sister.
Oh.
Sister. I think we're good.
I think that's good. Click. Let's
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay.
Yay.
Y'all better recognize. Y'all better recognize. I'm still gonna hire somebody.
So as Miss Naomi said, I've been in finance for about 6 years now. Does anyone know what FP&A is? So when people think about finance, right, you think of investments, you think of retirement. There are so many different areas of finance. My focus is FP&A, which is financial planning and analysis. So basically what I do for companies and for my clients, I teach you how to be efficient with your money. Make sure you're not overspending. I help billion-dollar companies. The oil and gas company that I work for, it's actually a billion-dollar company, and I'm helping them manage what they should spend and what they shouldn't. And if we're not getting down to the bottom line and we have a negative net income, that's a problem, right? Because we're in business to make money. Just as you are. You don't want a negative net income at the end of the day. You want to know that there's still money in the bank. You still have money left over to do what you need to do. So with that passion, I've always been very passionate with numbers. I've always loved math, and I recognize that it was important for me as an African American woman, let's just be real, to truly understand finance, because that's not something that they taught us. They didn't teach us that in high school or growing up. You know, I had a piggy bank as a child. That was about as much teaching of finance that I got. Why are we not having that conversation about finance? Why are we not having that conversation about money? It's very important. So throughout my college career, that's why I chose to go for finance. And through being a corporate professional, I realized that I had a passion to teach and to help more people get the knowledge that I have learned over the years from completing my studies. And so that's why I started Quinn Crown. Quinn Crown is a resource for financial education through publications, seminars, and workshops. So we're here today. Now this is gonna be interactive. I got worksheets for you guys. We're gonna get to it. At the end of this, we're gonna be real. You're gonna know where you stand financially today when you leave this room. And so my area of focus is business and personal. And I think it starts with personal, because if you're an entrepreneur, if you can't manage your personal money, you can't manage your business.
All right.
So it's very important that we get that under control. So I do different types of analysis on my clients, and we're gonna do some analysis today. So I'm really excited. And that's just about me. All right. This is what we are going to talk about today. So this is just personal finance 101. It's just the basics. We're not gonna get too deep, but I want you guys to walk away knowing what your situation is. So we're going to talk about why budget. A lot of people think, personally, you shouldn't budget. You absolutely have to budget. If you don't know what's coming in, how do you know what's going out? Doesn't make sense. You have to know where your money's going and what you're spending it on. I created an R3 methodology, which is realize your income, recognize your expenses, and remove your addiction to overspending. Overspending is an addiction. It is real, and I have struggled with it, and I'm always going through the circle of it, of spending money on things that I don't need to spend money on. Beyonce tickets, but you know. Then we're going to talk about financial tracking and analysis. Talk about credit. Credit is something that we have to talk about. It is significant. It's very important to have good credit so that you can get things in life, so that you can finance things. So we're going to talk about that as well, and then take action. All right, so why budget? Pretty straightforward, right? It defines your revenues and your expenses. So revenue is what's coming in, expenses is what's coming out. At the end of that, you're going to get to a net income. After a lot of other things, but that's just a general one-on-one, you're going to get to a net income, right? Mm-hmm. It tracks your spending. And if you know what you're spending, you'll be more knowledgeable of it. And so we're going to kind of go through that. And it can improve your spending habits. So that's going to be important. I want you guys to think about this. What are your spending habits? Where is your money going? We're going to find out where it's going. Don't worry. But I just want you guys to think about it. All right. Realize your income. So what is your true income? So there's two types of income. Taxable and then adjusted gross income. So taxable is your check. You're taxing it, taking a lot out of it, right? Self-employment, you have to pay business taxes. Rental income, you got to pay tax on that. Investments, and Social Security. Adjusted gross. So that's going to be anything where it doesn't have to be taxed before coming out. So think about your insurance at your job. They take that out before. Contributions to your retirement accounts, alimony, student loan interest. Recognize your expenses. So where is your money going? Does everybody know where your money's going? Can you tell me where it's going? Huh? Fees. What did you say? Fees?
Yeah.
What kind of fees?
Like ATM fees, small.
Those small fees add up. Those small fees add up. So there's two types of expenses in a general sense. There's your fixed expenses and your discretionary. Your fixed are the ones you pay every single month, okay? So it's your utilities, paying for your rent or your mortgage, insurance, daycare, tuition, and utilities. Normally, you know those are not going to change that much. Your utilities might fluctuate a little bit, but you know where you're going to be, right? So why not budget those things? Those things should already be budgeted. They should be in your budget. If you don't have a budget, you're going to walk away with a budget today, okay? All right. Discretionary expenses. This is usually where your money's going. Groceries, eating out. Now, I will tell y'all, I am such an eat-out person, and it is a struggle. I love brunch on Sundays, almost every Sunday. I like happy hour with my friends. I can go home and take a nap after that. That's what I like to do. So that's normally where my money goes. Clothing, entertainment, Beyonce tickets. I just don't understand why they're so high. Travel, hobbies, and gifts. All right. Everybody have their phones? Got our first. So what I want you guys to do, don't show it to anyone. I want everybody to log into their bank account right now. Log in your bank account if you have your phone. If you don't have your phone, if you don't have your bank account information, I want you to think about the last 10 things you bought. And I want to know if they were a fixed expense or a discretionary. So White Castle last night, discretionary. I'm just saying, we went to what that was discretionary. What is it? What's it called? Giordano. Yeah, Giordano. That's it.
Oh, yes.
Okay, does everybody have their phone out? Now don't show anyone. This is for you. Because at the end of the day, your finances are for you. Huh? You got a snapshot of where it went? I just want you to add up those transactions. And then think about how quickly they left. Think about it. You get a check usually every 2 weeks or once a month, and it takes you 80 hours for that 2 week check, 160 hours for that 1 month. Tell me this, how quickly are you spending it? How quickly? 30 seconds, right? It just goes quick. It goes so quick. Does everybody look at their bank statement? Everybody have a sense? So this is my challenge to you. When you get home, have a glass of wine, print out the last 3 months of your bank statement, and I want you to highlight everything that's a fixed expense in green, everything that is a discretionary expense in yellow. I want you to add that up and see where your money is going. There's so many times where people tell me, ooh, I'm afraid to check my bank account. Why are you afraid to check your own bank account? You just swiping until you finally get that OD charge, which by the way is insane, usually $30. So don't even put yourself in that situation, right? So I want you guys to do that, and I really want you guys to think about where your money is going and how much more effective it can be. Okay? All right. So we realized our income. We recognized our expenses. If your expenses are more than what you are bringing in, it's time to cut some things back, right? Just like this whole conference is about the mindset reset. You need to reset your mind and see where you really financially stand. Make sure you're walking in your own financial path, not everyone else's. Yes. Don't go to dinner paying for dinner with friends if you really can't afford it. No. Don't go on trips if you really can't afford it and you coming home and you don't have any money. You have to make a priority in your own life to make sure that you're in a good financial situation. Okay? And if you guys know that you're going to do things, right? You know you're going to go, I know I'm going to go to brunch once a week usually. I know I'm going to do different things. Add that into your budget. A budget is not to scare you, it's to help you. If you know where you stand, you know what you can spend. So if you know you're going to do those things, you know they're not avoidable, just add it in. Add an entertainment line into your budget. So now let's talk about removing the addiction to overspending. Oh, those impulse triggers. Have you ever been, okay, y'all, Target is my bad impulse place. I don't know why. Every time I go in there, I end up in the sales section with pillows and towels. I don't even need it, and it's always a $100 purchase. I don't get it. I don't understand. But do you think about how they set up the stores? They are setting them up so that you see the clearance in red. That red triggers you so that they're ending clearance things at 99 cents, even if it's not really a deal. It's a psychological thing. They're mentally pushing you to spend more money. And what about when you get to the register? Got all the candy bars, the chips, the magazines. All of that is to get you to pick it up. That's an impulse transaction. So another challenge for you guys, go to the store with a list and only buy what's on that list. Have you ever noticed when you make a list, you're like, oh, I forgot that. Let me get them cookies there. Let me get this here. Don't do it. Go in with a budget. Know what you're going to spend your money on and just spend that. And I guarantee your pocket will thank you for it. Because half of the time you're not going to use it anyways. You're going to throw it away because it wasn't something you realized you really needed. It was an impulse decision. All right. Miss Joy, we got the worksheet? All right. So I have a worksheet for you guys, and it's about impulse transactions. So I want you to write down what you buy when you feel a certain way. And that's another thing. Money is normally related to an emotional sense. So if it's someone's birthday, you feel like you gotta buy them a gift. When you're feeling sad, you gotta go buy ice cream. You're going out with friends, you think you gotta get a new outfit. Right? Can I see one of those? What about when you're in a bad mood? What's something you guys buy? Clothes. Clothes?
Makeup.
What about when you're in a good mood? Close? Okay, just wondering. Just wondering. Alright, so I want you guys to just take a couple minutes and really fill these out. Really figure out what are your impulse things and how you're feeling. These are your triggers. So I challenge you, really be honest with yourself. Because that's the only way you're going to have a mindset reset today. Is if you be honest with yourself first, recognize where you need to make a change, and let's do it. Does anybody want to share anything? What do you buy when you get bored? When you're bored?
Makeup.
You eat?
Makeup.
Makeup? Oh man. Makeup's a struggle.
House items.
House items? Like decorations?
Yeah.
Is the house already decorated?
I redecorate.
So you're bored, so you redecorate. Okay. What about when there's something on sale and you weren't even worried about it, right? And you just buy it because it has 99 cents at the end and they have a big sign that says sale. That is not what you went in the store for, but you get it anyways, right? And then half the time you don't use it. You don't even use it. Ooh, vacation. Man. So when you go on vacation, here's my struggle, and I've been guilty of it in the past. When I'm going to the beach, I love going to the beach. And when I'm going on vacation, I'm like, ooh, I gotta get all my new outfits, I gotta get my sundresses, my bathing suits. But nobody knows you there anyways, right? Nobody knows if this is old or if this is new. So why spend that money before you go? And then you're gonna spend a lot of money when you go on vacation. You just do. Because you want the experience, right? So it's important to think about those things and make sure you have a budget. If you know you're going on a trip in the fall, let's not wait until you get that paycheck a month before and come back broke. Let's save every single month. Put a couple $100s back every single month. So when you come back, you can still live your life. Okay? How's everybody doing? You doing okay? Do you have to start on the budget? I'm already going to the budget. No, this is the impulse part. Go to the other side yet. No, don't go to the other side yet. But this is a budget for you guys on the other sheet. So this is a household budgeting worksheet. And it's very in-depth. Your budget doesn't have to be this in-depth, but I challenge you to put everything down. I challenge you before you even do this budget worksheet, print out the last 3 months of your bank statements and really figure out how much money you're spending. You're spending over $500 eating out in a month? That's a problem. Half of that could be going to an investment account. It could be going to a savings account. It could be helping you start that business that you say you don't have money to fund. There's always money there. You already have the money. It's available, but it's how you're spending it. Okay? Alrighty. So here's the fun part. What I love, financial tracking and analysis. So you got your bank statements out. Guys, after you pull your bank statements out and you're highlighting everything, you guys are a financial analyst at this point. Because you've already gone through your bank statements, added to your resume, you're a financial analyst. And you can tell people where you are, but it's good to know where you are so you can figure out where you want to go. If you're not saving, here's one big thing I will say. If you're spending $500 a month on food, and you're only saving $100 a month, there's an issue. That's a problem. You need to be saving more. And sometimes there are several different types of ways to save, right? There's emergency accounts for when life happens. Life happens all the time, right? You want to have that cushion there to be available if something happens. You save for events, things like traveling, things you know they're going to come up. If you need to get a new outfit or if you want to buy a car, those type of things, you want to have that money available. But then there's also just saving. If there may be a good opportunity that comes up, that business that you wanted to start, we need to make sure we have money saved for that. Saving is not a bad thing. Saving is there to help you. Okay? You work too hard to come home and not have any money at the end of the day. Alrighty. Alright, so every month, and you don't have to do every month. I get paid every week, so I do this every single week, but I recognize that I love finance, right? I like to know where I am at all times. How often do you guys check your bank account? At least every week? Okay, every day. I check my bank account several times a day. And a lot of times you won't know that there's fraud on your account. I've had fraud several times, and it's only been because I check my bank account every single day. Actually, Thanksgiving last year, before going out of town to Florida, I had $300 in Uber charges on my account. I didn't get a notification. My bank didn't catch it. I caught it. So be mindful of that. Okay? So what did you spend? So all these categories that are on the back, right? And a lot of them you're not going to really have. This is just very in-depth. It's good to go as detailed as possible. I want you guys to compare every single month. There's apps that do this for you. Mint, right now Mint, M-I-N-T. It is a free app. You can literally connect your bank accounts. You can connect credit cards, everything you use, you can connect those to this app. And it will tell you, if you put in a budget, it will tell you, okay, you're over on this section. And a lot of people's, a lot of different banks, they do that now. I know Bank of America does it for sure. So check your bank as well, because they may have all those resources out there available for you and you're not using them. You're paying for them, so you might as well get the benefit, right? So any sudden or upcoming events, make sure you forecast for that. So what is forecasting? Forecasting is basically any changes to your budget, things that you forecast are going to happen. Just like the weather prediction, this is the weather forecast. It may not end up sunny and 75, but that's what they're predicting. It's the same thing with your finances. What are you expecting to happen? What are you expecting that's going to come up? You need a forecast for those things, okay? Just be mindful of that. And then make lifestyle changes to reach your financial goals. If you have goals to buy that new car or buy that house, you can't be out here spending a lot, because be very mindful, especially with buying a home. I teach workshops on first-time home buyers. They are looking at your bank statements. They're going to ask for the last 3 months of your bank statements. And they do not want to see any overdraft fees on those bank statements. And they want to make sure you have a savings account, not when you just started trying to look for a home. They want to make sure you already have a pattern and a habit of saving. Because with being a homeowner, things are going to come up and you're going to need money to take care of it. You can't call a landlord. I wish, but you can't, right? All right, let's talk credit. How does everybody feel about credit? Sometimes credit is a sticky situation, and I feel like it's definitely a sticky situation in the Black community, and that has to stop. We need to be mindful about credit, and we need to make changes about it. And if we're knowledgeable, just like everyone else, we can make smart decisions. All right, so what is credit? It's the ability to obtain goods or services before payment. So your credit card, they just give you the money. Credit card is not free money. That is a loan. You have to pay it back with interest, okay? So just because you got that $3,500 credit limit, ooh, we finna go shopping, okay, be aware. You're gonna probably pay $4,000 back, okay? So secure credit versus unsecured. So unsecured, your credit cards, like I said, personal lines of credit, student loans, rough. Ooh, secure, very rough. Secure credit, your auto loans, your mortgage, basically you have something that's collateral. So if you don't pay your car note, they're coming to repo that car. If you don't pay your mortgage, they're going to foreclose on your home, okay? So things that impact your credit score. These are the main things that they are looking for. Payment history, just making sure you're making on-time payments, and usually it needs to be above 98%. If you have late payments on your credit, I would suggest calling creditors and ask them to remove those from your history and tell them to set up, normally you can make a deal. You say, hey, I want to set up automatic payments with you, because that's what they really want. They want that guarantee, knowing that that money's going to come. And you say, okay, well, if I set up automatic payments, can you delete my late payments from my history? So it takes 7 years for things to get off of your credit. So you want to make sure, just because you made a few mistakes in college, you don't want that to carry on to when it's time for you to buy a house. Okay? Public records. That's going to be a bankruptcy, things like that. Larger things like that. Length of credit history. They want to make sure that you've had credit for a while, that you didn't get a credit card for 1 year and you've already closed on it. They want to see that longevity, that you have time to really maintain that credit and have that good history. New accounts. This is definitely something I would, if you're planning on making any large purchases, do not open any new credit accounts, okay? Because let's be real, credit is, they're thinking that you need that money. If they see you opening several new accounts time and time again, you're a risk to them.
Even though you get those things in the mail, like, oh, I'll get a free credit card, this and this, it's not always a positive thing. So don't always fall for it. You don't want to open up a lot of new accounts. You want to have a mature credit history as far as your length. Inquiries. So when you go get an apartment, definitely when you buy a car, they do a lot of inquiries. They're testing a lot of different banks to make sure you can get the loan. So just try not to have as many inquiries on your credit. I would say if you're gonna buy a car, wait a year or two before you buy a home, because actually buying a car is harder on your credit than buying a home. Okay? And utilization. So basically what that is you take your credit limit. So say you have $10,000 credit limit, right? But you have an $8,500 balance. So that means your credit cards are 85% utilized. They don't want to see that. Even though they're giving you that money, they want to make sure you don't need it. It's a game. It truly is a game. So here's the money, but don't really spend it, okay? So you want to try to have your utilization under 50%. It's more optimal to have it under 30. But if you can at least work to get it under 50%, you'll see your credit score go up. And a lot of times when you pay off a lot of debt, your score will go down that first month. Give it 60 days, and it'll jump back up, okay? Yes, ma'am.
So why is it that buying a car is worse on your credit limit?
Because I think it's because of the term. Because with the car, it's only normally 5 to 6 years, right? But with the mortgage, they're going to anticipate, your career. When I bought my first home 4 years ago, they asked me, "What are you doing? What's your career?" Right? Are you in school? Are you planning on it? Because they're going to forecast how much my income is going to grow of that 15 or 30-year period of time. So that's why it's much easier to be able to purchase a home than it is for a car, because a car is short term. It's only 4 or 5 years. Money's not going to change that much, especially with inflation. That's out the door. So be mindful of that. And for people that don't think you're in a financial situation and get a house, we need to talk, because a lot of times you're in a way better situation than you think. Okay? All right. Any other questions? All right. Improve your credit. So I'm going to give you guys just some free tips to improve your credit and save at the same time. Has anyone heard of self-lender? So self-lender is pretty cool. So basically what they do, you pay them $12 for the year. They're going to give that money back to you with interest. Write that down. It's called Yes. It's called self-lender. So basically what it is, have you guys ever heard of a CD, certificate of deposit?
Right.
It basically works as a CD. But they report to credit bureaus for about $1,200, because that's what I'm going to get back. So they're going to put on my credit that I have a credit line for $1,200. And every single time I save money, it's going to report to the credit that I'm making on-time payments for that loan. Okay? So make sure you get that.
Right.
No, they don't teach you that. Yes.
So is that a company, like a specific company?
Yeah, it's called self-lender. That's the name of the company. Yes, so definitely look that up. All right, next one. Anybody else have questions about that? And that's a quick one. They report to your credit within 60 days. That'll give you a quick bump. All right, dispute incorrect items. Guys, please don't be afraid to look at your credit. A lot of times you're not in as bad of a situation as you are. I had a client come to me. She had less than $5,000 in debt and thought she needed to file bankruptcy. Absolutely not. You need to make sure you see where you really are. A lot of times you're not as bad as you think. And just because your credit score may be low, that does not mean you can't do these things here and bump it up 100 points in 3 months. It's doable, and we can talk about it, okay? So dispute incorrect items. You feel like there's incorrect items on your credit, you definitely want to dispute those. And a lot of times, let's talk about things that are in collections. I just want to do it briefly. Collection accounts. They do not have the right to collect from you. They are third party. You did not go into a contract with them. So when debt collectors call you, you tell them you need to send me proof that you can even collect from me, because I didn't go into an agreement with you. That is the quickest way to get them to stop calling your phone. They will stop calling your phone. Okay?
So think about that. Definitely say that. Because normally they'll just keep calling and calling and calling. Yes.
Is it true it's a glitch in the system?
What do you mean?
Credit bureaus?
With credit bureaus?
Meaning like if I wanted to take something off my report, right?
So there's things you can do to remove things off your credit, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the glitch you're talking about, let me tell you this. They're huge companies, right? They don't have time to look into every single person. So a lot of times, you can get a lot of things removed from your credit by doing simply this. Send a message, send a letter to all 3 credit bureaus. Tell them to update your current, if it's not your full name with the correct spelling, your current address, current phone number. In 30 days, if they do not change it, they have to remove it from your credit report by law.
One more time.
Yes. 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 So you send a letter or you can call in to all 3 credit bureaus and you tell them to update all those collections. If you have collections or anything, update it with your full name, because sometimes with collections, like I had a medical bill that was in collection for like $8, which is insane, but they had my middle name as my first name. So they didn't even have my name correct. Make sure it's the correct spelling, address, current address, and phone number. If they do not update it themselves within 30 days, by law, they have to remove it from your credit report. Okay? Increase debt payments in your budget to lower your overall account balances. That money you're spending on eating out, maybe try to eat out only a couple times a week. I love eating out because I love being social and hanging out with my friends. So that's important to me. So if I know I'm going to do that, then I'm going to add that in my budget. But I don't have to do it every single day. So those other days, I can be cooking at home, and the extra $150 a week can be going to pay off my credit cards. Okay? And credit repair program. I would definitely say let's talk before you try to do a credit repair program, because there's a lot of times where you can do a lot of this on your own and you're not going to pay somebody $1,000 to do it for you. Okay? Just those tips that I'm telling you right now, this is what they're going to do for you. This is what they're going to do. Okay? Anybody have questions? Yes.
So when you actually write that particular letter, right? They do have, I know they do have a situation, right? If you type it, they have a situation where, like you say, it's a big company, right? So they have a system where they just basically approving those. So you have to write that letter a specific way for them to.
And there are
30 days.
Right. There are templates that are available. If you guys need a template, you can easily set up a consultation with me. I do 30-minute strategy sessions for only $25. We can get on Zoom. I can talk to you about your personal financial situation and get you handled and make sure that I give you those. My purpose for finance is my passion to help other people. I'm not in it to make money. God has brought the money to me to be able to keep me to sustain, but I'm not here to just take people's money, especially if you have bad credit. You don't really have the money anyways to fund my knowledge. You know what I mean? So I want to be helpful and I want to help as many people as possible. So if you want to sit down and have a conversation or you want to send me an email, I can give you that template. I have a template that you can use. You just fill in the information.
What's your email?
I have my cards. I'll give you a card.
We're gonna get a chance.
I have cards. Don't worry. Anybody else have anything? All right. I just challenge you guys to take action from everything you guys learned today. I hope that it was helpful.
Dr. Cassandra Bradford Wilson, who, if you notice, I'm not even pulling up a bio because, as she said, we met like a year and a half ago, and sisters in my kindred spirit. Okay, this is one of those times where if you're listening, see, she was listening to God, and I was sort of kind of paying attention, so she just kind of grabbed me and took me along, and he was just saying, well, go ahead, because you don't know what else is going on, but go ahead. And not only meeting her, but meeting some other real fabulous women, but now we're just like thick as thieves. And I was just looking on, you know how Facebook says you have your friend anniversaries? And usually most of mine come up and they show one picture of me and show one picture of the other person. Well, we just got one and we had, 175 pictures together. So I'm thinking that we kind of like each other. And she is my mentor. She is my example. So when I say how we all get to be an example at every stage of life, she is my example. So last year this time, I was contemplating doing this and was standing afraid. And as the Bible story talks about, the after Christ was crucified, the disciples were hiding for fear of the Jews. And then that day of Pentecost came, and they went out boldly. Well, she's my mentor, not my Jesus. But we're keeping it straight. But she when I was standing there and saying I had every good reason that sounded rational. I was good. I actually practiced it before I called her and told her I wasn't going to do it. And she reached out to me, and she just heartfelt just said, I'm here for you, and I'll help you do whatever I need to do. So I am not only blessed to be on my tour today, this conference, but her conference is tomorrow, which you have the availability to get half price tickets now. Is she blessing or what? So her event tomorrow, where she'll have even additional speakers, and you'll get more of her, which you're getting ready to get right now. And, you know, what can I say that she's just a special, special cookie to me. So I want to introduce to you and let you get a taste of my friend, Dr. Cassandra Bradford Wilson.
I don't get an intro. Basically, she made me work, but I don't get an intro. That's okay. I introduce myself. Yeah, I ain't got time for all this because they get into my time. So I brought my own assistant. So you tell me, because I don't trust people like that. Right? So I am Dr. Cass, and I love what I do. How many of you are actually walking in your purpose? Well, let me back up. How many of you God gave a vision? Yes. And how many of you are walking in your purpose? Because there's a difference between vision and purpose. So I'm going to do a little teaching. And I'm going to do a little laughing because they told me, Naomi promised me, you know when people don't pay you, they promise you cake. Well, they promised me cake because they know cake causes world peace. So in my life, and I'm still waiting on my slice of cake. Right. And so I'm Dr. Cass, and I absolutely love what I do. So I'm just going to introduce myself. Right. So, you know, I won a couple of awards. My NAACP award is up there. But what is, I think, you know, and I'm honored, don't get me wrong. I do a lot of work in the community and all that kind of stuff. And I am a champion. I'm a lobbyist for small business. I get to study small business, dealing with geographical location, ethnicity, things like that. That's my background. But I love what I do in the community, and that's really to help hurting women. So when someone want to recognize anything that I do, I consider it an honor because they don't have to. And I don't do it to get awards. Some stuff I do. I work for clothes, so I'm on a budget. and you know, I'm a woman. I don't like that B word, so I'm on a spending plan. Don't that sound? Yeah, I like that one too. And so I'm getting an International Women's Award this year, which I am more honored to receive. And of course, some work that I'm doing over in Africa. So I am super excited about what I do. So I'm getting ready to laugh. So you may want to button that top button right fast because I just feel that life is about a journey, and me and God have this relationship. Because I am 54, so this is what 54 looks like. Right. So I feel like this. I go through things, but God shows me something different. He may say, you had a boogie in your nose when you said something. You know, I'm like, what? Or he may say, you know, your hair was lopsided or your head was too big or something. So I have to be able to laugh at things that happen in my life, even though I go through the same heartaches and things that you go through. But God will show me something to make things funny. So in this half age of lifetime, I feel that I'm just going to laugh the rest of my life. How about that? So we get rid of laugh. So I just want to talk to you guys about eagle-eye vision. So having an eagle-eye vision. So what makes me a subject matter expert? I don't know. Because I was crash test dummy. And so someone asked on Facebook, you laughing, that's a true story. I was a crash test dummy. So hence you guys are all my therapists today, Dr. Brown. So someone asked me on Facebook, give me 2 truths about you and a lie. So I told them I said I was a crash test dummy, I like to eat cake, and I like to peel oranges. And they said, well, a crash test dummy is a lie. I said, no, and I volunteered to be a crash test dummy. So back in 1982, I'm trying to think. Girl, look, these student loans get you. I was working on one of them degrees. Well, I was a crash test dummy. My degree is in biomechanical engineering specializing in kinematics. So it sounds like I'm really, really smart, but I was actually a crash test dummy, right? Because we measured energy that went through vehicles to determine whether or not a person could be injured, which direction their body would move, right? Because I wanted to be an attorney, I did a whole bunch of other stuff, but I actually liked being a crash test dummy. Because in 1982, women were not biomechanical engineers. No, so I was so busy climbing that corporate ladder. So God gave me a vision that I was going to do all of these wonderful things, right? And I had a good time because I got to work with men. But in 2002, I started my own company, and I started a whole bunch of companies, as a matter of fact. So when I left corporate America as a vice president of my region for AAA Insurance, and I set up some medical review departments and all that kind of stuff, and we reviewed auto accidents to determine how much our litigation should settle cases for. So when I left with them as a client. I didn't leave stealing ink pens and sticky notes. I know some of y'all got some evidence in your house right now. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands right now. So my very first company I started is called Insurance Medical Records Review. I still have that company. It's based out of California. I have 2 subcontractors that actually work on that for me. I have 3 AAAs in the Midwest. And I'm not trying to grow that company at all. I'm really trying to let it go because I want to talk to small business owners. So back in 2000, I was in Dallas, Texas, working on an assignment. One of my clients was Neiman Marcus, and they had a huge $15 million case. I was in Dallas, and all of their litigation attorneys came in and go, Cassandra, are you a certified minority-owned business? And I said, why are we bringing race into this? I helped y'all settle this case. Instead of the money y'all paid, you only paid the lady $12,000. Right. And so he says, no, if you were certified minority, you can bid on this contract. It's a $4 million contract. I went all the way back to California. I was living in California at the time, got certified, bid on the contract, and won a $4 million contract, which is how I ended up in Texas. So I figured I cannot be the only chocolate drop in here that didn't know anything about being a certified minority or a woman-owned. So I went to Washington, D.C., learned everything there was to learn, and I started Genesis Preferred Solutions. Now I'm certified to teach it in every state. Yeah, I love what I do, right? And then I started a Chamber of Commerce. I did a whole bunch of other things. You guys, I'm going to tell you something. If I'm going to join some organization, I need to be on the board because I'm nosy. Because I want to know everything going on. But I get to meet everybody. I'm on the Retired NFL Players Association. I'm on the board for Super Bowl. I do a whole bunch of stuff that I absolutely love because I get to champion for small business to make sure that they're getting a piece of the pie. So I'll be spending a whole bunch of time in Atlanta in August because guess what's happening in Atlanta next year? Super Bowl. And who's getting ready to make some money with Super Bowl? Man, I don't know what y'all doing. Right? And so, but my actual I'm hot. I'm not having a hot flash. I'm standing over here by you. And so I started, back in, I don't know, you have to think about how old my baby is. She's 24 now. But I remember, I don't know, it had to have been about 25 years ago. I was leaving Bible study. And at that age, what do you do after Bible study? You want to go get something to eat. And I remember my pastor said, Cassandra, I see you on the stage in front of thousands and thousands of women. I said, hold up, Pastor, that's the devil. I don't even like women like that. They talk too much when the game is on. They claim Mark. Who's named Mark? Cleveland? Okay, yeah. I read in my conference earlier tomorrow. I'm sorry. Okay, so, because I got to watch my time because I don't trust no one around here. But what she talked about, when she said that, and I dismissed it and I put it on the shelf, because I am walking in my vision. But Great Women's Conference is a conference I started 5 years ago. It's actually my purpose. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that later. I think my assistant can pass out some cards on it. So Great Women's Conference is a conference that I am going to be speaking on tomorrow here in the same hotel. And I think I told Naomi I'm going to offer you guys 50% off the ticket. And I'm doing more teaching tomorrow because I'll have more time to teach because they got me on a timer today. But I believe if you all on my team, we can lock her assistant in the closet with the timer. No? Okay. Fine. So Run Women Cares is a nonprofit organization that last year we collected 7,000 purses and donated to 2 transitional living homes. This year we're looking for 18,000 bars of soap. So if you guys got some soap on you or staying in the hotel, can because I promised 2 transitional living homes 18,000 bars of soap. I think it was last week, this week, Tuesday. One of my clients came in and gave me 10,000 bars of soap, so I was shouting in the parking lot of my office building. I didn't care. Pay rent there. Right. I can shout in the parking lot if I want to. So we, because a lot of people, we ask you to give money, everybody, you know, the way my bank account is set up, because, you know, I had the financial class today. But you can give something. How many of you know that your blessing is tied to your giving? So sometimes we can't give money, but we can give something. So now I give y'all my address at the end of this conference. So anyway, let me keep on down the road. I have written a bunch of books. I think this says 6. I own 80% of a publishing company. Dolores. So I can pump these books out. Girl, look. I be busy. So I think I only brought 3 of them with me here today. One of them is called Shut Up in Color, because sometimes black women do need to just shut up when the game is on and you need to come. But it talks about how we can work together. We will work together. I mentor a group of women called Big Girls. Naomi is a member of Big Girls, right? And we actually help one another in business. Look at Naomi doing her own tour. I'm so proud of her own. I have another book called Drug Pusher. I never did drugs, never inhaled or exhaled. Drug stands for directly responsible for ultimate growth. How to determine the difference between a mentor, a coach, and a consultant. I think coach is being very diluted. I am not a coach. I am a mentor and a consultant. I can give you my best advice for your business. I'm also a strategist. That's the fun part. We'll be doing that tomorrow. And then my latest book is 21 Ways to Create Relational Currency. How many of you are sitting next to somebody that you value? Don't lie. You don't even know them. But if you remember back in the 80s, I'm pointing myself, cross-functional marketing, same thing. In therapy, they teach you about how valuable your mate is, right? Same thing when you're growing a business. We need to learn how to do business with somebody else. It's amazing when you study black business. The number 1 reason why black business is failed has nothing to do with money, has number 1 to do with opportunity, but 2, we don't know how to play nice in the sandbox. So we don't know how to team together to get business. I'll be talking a lot about that tomorrow. Because honey, I have access to $1 million contracts. So what I do every day, all day long. So my second book was called Power of Cake, because cake. I've been eating cake every day since I was 6. Okay, let me hold my stomach in. I've been eating cake. All right. So anyway, I got to keep going because they got me on a timer. So let me just go on. Let me just go and get into what I'm going to teach about. So today, what we're going to discover is who gave you the vision. I think we've already identified that earlier today. And where were you when you got the vision? Okay? And most of us, we always question the vision. Who questioned the vision when you got it? How to have an eagle-eyed view of the vision. And then we're going to identify your RPM. So let's get started. So who gave you the vision? How many of us can safely say that God gave you the vision? And I'm going to talk about God a whole lot, because I don't know how to do business without God. So whenever somebody asks me to come speak, I get the round trip ticket so I can talk about and the check. I'm going to talk about God every chance I get, because I don't know how to do business without him. So he gave me my vision, right? Right. So it's safe to say that God gave you your vision, okay? And how many of us question the vision? You say you got the right one? Right. Just a few of us question. Everybody else is just running, just going. You said, I knew it was him. I got it. I obeyed him the first time. I said, who, me? Why me? And I just said that this week about some stuff he told me to do. I'm like, wait, hold on now. G Diddy. Right. Who you talking to? You talking to me? Mm-hmm. How many of you, when he gave it to you, well, let's just be honest, he never gave you the full vision because you still be laid out, unconscious. So he only gave it to us in part. Because if he gave you the whole vision, right, it'd be too much. How many of you remember where you were when he gave it to you? I know where I was. I was in counseling. I was doing a therapy session. DSW shoes, mind my own. I'm telling you. I was minding my own business, y'all. I was in there, and I got a call, and I have a Bluetooth because I need my hands free at all times. You just never know. Could be eating cake. I carry my own fork. You just never know. Yeah. People say I would give you some. I licked on the fork. Voila, I come with my own. You gotta be ready. So I was in DSW shoe, and I got a call from this lady, and she said, Cassandra, oh my God, I'm gonna need you to speak at my conference. I said, when is this conference? She said, next month. I said, girl, you can't call me a month. I'm booked. I'm booked a year in advance. I'm booked. She said, but you said your word is your bond. How's she gonna regurgitate what I said? You know what I'm saying? And I was so upset with her, Dr. Rowe. And I said, I tell you what, I have 1 weekend free next month. If you can pick that day, not only will I speak for you, I'll speak for you for free. She picked that day. So I was upset. I said, God, when are these black women going to learn Jesus? And so I'm walking through DSW and I'm having an audible conversation with God because I was truly upset about it. So I decided, because people were looking at me strange, to take my conversation out to my truck. Okay, I live in Texas now. I drive a truck. So I'm in my truck and I'm having a conversation. And he said, when are you going to do what I told you to do? I said, Jesus, hey, dude, focus on her, not me. We're talking about her. We gossiping. Come on now. Is it just me? Does he do that to you too? I can't stand it. I'm like, how am I supposed to gossip? And he always turned it back on me. And he said, when are you going to do what I told you to do? And so, Wrong Women's Conference was birthed. I wrote it back at that time. 5 years ago, I used to keep a telephone message pad in my truck. And so I wrote on the back of it. And I have pages as I was crying, but I didn't realize that I had on one of their shoes. And I left the shoe and left the store. They had one of mine. Come on. So anyway, I took it back now. So that's how Rowan's conference was born. But anyway, so God gave us the vision and he gave it to us in color, right? Can I say this? Can I ask you a question? When God gave you your vision, was anybody else around? Was anybody else around? There was? You was at church? But when he told it to you, did somebody else hear it? Was anybody else? Did he tell it to just you? So is it safe to say when God gave you your vision, he told you a secret?
All right.
I'm just asking questions. Y'all ain't He told you a secret. So when people come to my office and ask for my help to take their vision to another level, did I get to hear secrets that only God told you? I have the best job right now. Because my job is to take that vision that God gave you, strategize a plan and bring it to fruition. That is I got the best, I don't care what you say. I got the best job in house. People bring me cake too to the office. It'd be wonderful. I got wonderful clients. I love them. Yes, so I think I have the best job in the house. So what's keeping you from executing your vision? Is it money, time, family, children? We all got excuses as to why we have not executed the vision. I did a Bible study on Facebook. Well, it wasn't really a Bible study, it was a book study on one word from God. How many read that book? Read it. I know Naomi was involved. And it talks about how that instead of making New Year's resolutions, you take that one word to apply it to 5 areas of your life. My word this year is execute. right? I'm going to execute my budget. I'm going to execute where I'm going to do what God tells me to do the first time. Yeah, I'm executing. I'm going to get to that in a minute. I'm executing, going, being the initiator. When I say, God, I want more friends in my life. So I'm going to execute my friendships a little bit better. I'm going to do it better. I'm going to execute. So anyway, so what's keeping you from executing the vision that God gave you? I think you don't trust the visionary.
Wow.
God, I don't think you really know what you're talking about. I'm just saying, I don't know what you're saying. I'm just, reading minds right now. Mm-hmm. Right, so some of you guys don't trust the visionary. I don't know what's going on in your household. But I'm one of these, I grew up with my dad, and I feared whoopings. Because my dad didn't whoop, he beat my brothers. I went, note to self, never do that. So I never got a whooping. Not from my daddy, I didn't. My mom was another story. So because I feared whooping. So I'm like, I'm a daddy, I'm going to do what you tell me to do the first time. So if I'm going to do what my earthly father tell me the first time, what do you think I'm going to do with my heavenly father? Right. I'm going to do what he tell me because I need the blessings to flow. Right. I'm an obedient daughter, right? So what's keeping you? Is it your friends, family, what my friends gonna say, right? Or I wasn't taught business. We like that. But like somebody said, we got Google University. Mm-hmm. You got mentors. And I'm gonna tell you something about these coaches. You need to get with people that have a successful business. Stop listening to people who have never had a business and never ran one successful. Never ran one legally. But God blessing me, but your business is illegal. You ain't paying taxes. But then again, I can look at some people that run illegal businesses and I can learn from them. Because drug dealers, they got some good business models. They know their customers. They know their prices. They ain't got to look at a price sheet, get a supervisor's opinion. They ain't got to sign. Now watch this video. How many people want to sell you something? You ready to buy, I want you to watch a video. I ain't got time to watch no video. I got my money right now. I want it now. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm on something else. So could it be your lifestyle? This, well, if I put my money, then I can't buy some shoes. I'm going to tell you something about people that's got money. There's a difference between rich people and wealthy people. Because God said he'll give you the ability to get wealth. So when I made my first million, my mentor told me the day you buy a luxury car will be the last day you come talk to me. I just bought my 560 SL convertible. But let me tell you what happened 3 days later. I went to pick up a client, had never met her. She had sent me over $1 million worth of, a little under $1 million worth of business. Never met her. And I said, I'm going to take you out to lunch. She said, well, I can't accept a gift. I said, we can go to Sizzler. Remember Sizzler? Mm-hmm. We can go to Sizzler. I went to pick her up and she couldn't fit in my brand new car. I didn't know. I had never met her, never seen her before in my life. Do you know she never sent me any more business? She was embarrassed. Wasn't the word. Lesson learned. So I invest my money in people, technology, real estate.
All right.
Okay? All right, so what's keeping you? Is it worry that you can't do it, or, doubt, like we ever talked about? Some people don't trust the vision. Could it be money? I don't think it's money, because we can do, I'm going to tell you something. What, you giving me a sign? I'm out of time? I'm out of time?
No, you're good.
Girl. You want your check on next Friday, don't you? I know where it is. Is it money? Because we can make $1 out of 15 cents if you want to.
Come on.
But we're so caught up into looking the part instead of being the part. And it bothers me about my culture. That's why I'm Hispanic. Because we are so into looking the part. Who cares if you wear red bottoms? I shop at a consignment store. Who cares? Who cares? But you're so worried about what people think about you than what God says about you. What he preordained you to be. I really want to say something right now, but I'll be preaching, y'all be shouting, y'all get into my time. So you need to subtract some people. who don't add value. I'm talking about to the vision. I'm saying to the vision. I'm not just saying you just go cut people out your life. She ugly, cut out. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that don't support the vision. And I'm going to tell you something, when God gives you a vision, especially you entrepreneurs, you need to be around other entrepreneurs every day. Because guess what? You feed off of them. Oh my God, what you doing now? What technology you learning? Who told you about that? I can put my phone over your phone. I need to learn something new about my business. You need to be around people that are actually in action.
All right.
Instead of people talking about I'm finna. I'm finna do it. I'm gonna do it, girl. I'm about to. What about to do it today?
All right.
Because one of the definitions of an entrepreneur is a person that takes a risk.
All right.
Are you taking a risk? God said step onto the deep. Let's just get scriptural with it.
Come on. Come on.
He needs your foot. He needs your toe to put it into the Jordan. In the Red Sea. Can we do that one? Y'all know the little Ten Commandments. So, but if you don't put your toe in the water, then what? God, you didn't bless me. He said, I've been blessing you. You won't do it. I've already given you the ability. I made you smart.
Thank you, Jesus. Come on.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And stop hanging around people with empty souls. You just stop hanging around people that ain't going nowhere. What you doing today? I'm gonna go home and I'm just getting ready to put my feet up and do what? The name of my conference is Run Women's Conference. We didn't really run this is okay. But you know, because women are always running. And it's not just a women's conference now anymore. Because men like, hey, I'm coming too. Really, entrepreneurship has no gender. And a lot of husband and wives do business together. So we can't make it all about women. So we don't have no secrets. We're going to tell y'all anyway because we run our mouth. So ain't no need of us. I only talk to women. And it bothers me because I only do business with Christians. Or I only do business with black people. Let me tell you, I discriminate. I want credit cards in red, purple, black, green, psychedelic, and green dollars that fold. I can really care less what color you are because we all kind of mixed up anyway. Stop hanging around people who have empty souls. Okay? And stop prostituting the vision. And start executing.
All right. All right.
I'm all over this paper like this.
You are prostituting.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you something. My brother, he had asked a girl to marry him. And she said, before I said yes or no, I need a business loan. He said, what, to accept my wedding proposal? She said, I mean, I want to follow you. I'm like, oh, I like her. Oh, I can't wait to be her sister-in-law. She said, I want a 5-year plan. I want to know what you're going to do to get there. Because I may not want to help that if I'm going to help me. Oh, that's what he's saying, folks. I'm sorry. Right. Because she said, because I don't want to be trying to help somebody with a vision and then I got to do all the work. I'm only supposed to help you.
Wow.
Stop prostituting your vision. And when I get me a wife, I'm going to have her do all my secretarial work. That ain't what she's supposed to do. He gave you the vision. You just need to explain it to her so she can help you. And then you got to let her help you. You look at your business plan. You should be looking at it all the time because it could change. My target markets change 4 times a year. Beginning of the year, I want brand new entrepreneurs. By second quarter, I want some people that want some $1 million contracts. So my target market changes all the time. Maybe yours don't, I don't know. Or people that's here. You got. I mean, if you are so into pleasing God, who gave you the vision, and you want to do it right the first time and do what He tell you, I don't know how you're sleeping at night. I've been over here writing some stuff down, some stuff he told me this week that I called Naomi, and she was like, I was like, blah, 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 blah. And first of all, that's what she heard because I'm a morning person, 5 o'clock every day, and she's not. But that's the only time I can talk on the phone like that is when I'm driving to the office. Because once I get in the office, I don't really want to talk because my phone's ringing in the office. So she's like, he told you what? And, huh? Girl, look, I'm just turning over. I said, girl, listen. Change your surroundings and stop. Maybe you stop hanging around with some chicken. I'm just saying. Get a coach. Get somebody that can get you to the next level. Get a mentor. A mentor is somebody that say, you know what? Let me make a call for you. I know Jerry Jones at Dallas Cowboy Stadium. I do. So let me make a call for you. Sure. Right? Right. You need to get around some people that are smarter than you. If you're the smartest person in your group, fire yourself.
All right.
Fire yourself. I'm around people. Let me tell you something. I got around some people, and God said, I've been waiting for you to get there. I'm getting to where I'm getting to. Give me a second. Right? So a lot of what I do, and I don't even, why is this in here? I don't think that slide's supposed to be in here. But, well, I think Bob is attractive. He's not supposed to be in this slide. And that's a workshop that I have with, I teach, Bob stands for Black Owned Business or Brown Owned Business. And I teach you how to get certified, how to get a contract, and that's not supposed to be in here. Then I have one called Contract Attraction, where I teach you how to actually go after contracts and $1 million contracts with Fortune 500 companies and governments. So these are not supposed to be in here. So I'm just going to slide and get on, because I know my time is up. They in the back trying to be merciful. But my purpose is running this conference. I am a survivor of domestic violence. And so everything that we do has to help another person in transition. Every person in this room is in transition. Either we're trying to grow hair, cut hair, buy hair, lose weight, gain weight. We're all in transition, right? So we're in our 5th year. We're running this conference. We're in our 2nd, 3rd year of taking it on tour. We're in 12 states this year. Do I look tired? No, don't look good, though. Girl, I'm working it. I'm trying to suck it in. I had no cake. Anyway, so tomorrow Dr. Rowe is speaking with us. Are you speaking about tomorrow? Yes. So we are here, and I will be doing a lot more teaching on contract attraction, how you can get $1 million contracts, and they buy everything. And I'm going to say this, and this has nothing to do with this presentation, and I apologize, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I have a client in Louisville, Kentucky, and she is a black hair stylist. So when you think the government don't buy everything, they buy everything. I tell people, stop thinking about the government as this big entity, put some lipstick and eyelashes, and it's a customer. She does black hair. She said, well, the government can't buy what I'm selling, which is, you know, how to style black hair. She got it was $135,000 contract at the juvenile facility to do little chocolate children's hair. So why was it only $135,000? My time is up? Whatever. So it ain't easy, y'all. So anyway, she thought she couldn't get the whole contract, which was $1.2 million. Oh, I shouldn't, anyway, y'all don't know my rules and people may know she is. Because her taxes and imperfections on her tax return. So they told her taxes were not done properly, so she couldn't bid. And guess what? When she went to the bid, nobody showed up to bid against her. Would you like to win on these?
Wow.
Well, she went to go refile her taxes with a CPA, because I believe in CPAs, because they have to carry Arizona emissions insurance. So you make a mistake on my insurance, well, I'm going there, I'm filing a claim. That's right. So come to find out, there was no problem. So the person that they gave it to couldn't perform. They called her. Guess who just got $1.2 million contract? Look at God. Doing black hair. So don't tell me that, now that's her vision. That's her purpose. So don't tell me, I don't even know what I'm talking about, they got to do vision purpose. But anyway, but that's really what that's what I teach and that's what I do. So, Run Women's Conference, you guys can come tomorrow. I think my tickets are normally $49. If you want to come, my assistants here today, $25. You can come tomorrow. It's in the same hotel. But our big conference is in Dallas in July. And in Dallas, we do it big. But let me just tell you, because he's like looking at me like, when you going to tell me why he was shouting in the parking lot for real. When I look at the vision that God gave me, because I was the one that said, God, I'm the wrong one. I'm the wrong one. I did call a press conference, and I did call Jerry Jones a pimp. And then now me and Jerry like this. We are good friends. And then I called the mayor one too. You know, I'm gonna call people out. Because I'm a lobbyist for small business, right? For small minority business. And then I also had a chamber of commerce, so I was always in trouble. I wanted to play politics, but I was in the Legislative Black Caucus, just talking about folks. But let me tell you, go back to the vision. So I got a call from somebody that kept coming to my office, reminding me of some stuff that I did a few years ago when I first moved to Dallas, 13 years ago. And one of the gentlemen said, he's a white gentleman, he says, Cassandra, you did an event when you first started your chamber. You went from 4 people to 400 people in 6 months. How did you do it? I said, because I just meet people. I know everybody. Right? When he left, God said, again, when are you going to do what I told you to do? So let me just cut to the chase. So in 2019, and I love Run Women's Conference. It is my purpose. And we have several speakers because I never claim to know everything. I know a little bit of something about nothing. But in 2019, guess where my conference is going to be held at? Dallas Cowboy Stadium. So not only is Run Women's Conference, we changed our name to Run Women Global because it's going to be an international conference. I will be in Africa next year, Dubai, some other places, but it's actually going to be an international conference. I've been in talks with the Pan-Asian Chamber, African Chambers of Commerce, the African Consulate. So, yeah. So, I'm telling you, y'all need to know me. I know what time is up. I don't need you telling me. So, man, I just absolutely, time is always my issue because I just absolutely love what I do, and I really love to teach more than I love to encourage, but encouragement and teaching, I have to get it in some kind of way. So tomorrow I will be doing a whole bunch of teaching about how to get contracts. Dolores, I'm so glad you're here. I met Dolores the same year I met Naomi. And she called me with some news about what she did with her business. I was at the gas pump shouting. Folks were like, what's wrong with you? I said, hey, don't get me started. And so she was like, but Dr. Cassie, girl, I can't take no more now. The gas pump is stopped. But I love to hear when businesses are doing well. And you can't tell me that black businesses don't do well. We do well when we are obedient. We do well because we know that if God gives his stamp of approval on it, he's going to surround you with the people that you need to take you to what he gave you. And I'm going to go to this scripture and then I'm going to sit down. And I don't know where it is, but pastors, y'all can tell me where it's at. He says, I think it's in, I don't know. He said, I passed by, but I saw you in your own blood. You were covered in your own blood. And I picked you up and I put fine linen on your back and a crown on your head. But he said, I saw you. So no matter where you were and what condition you were in, he saw you. Even if you were in the crack house, even if you was in the whole house, amen. He saw you. And he put a crown on your head, and he put linen on your back. He bathed you in hyssop. So that means that God sees you wherever you are. Yes. And no matter what it is, he has a plan for you, a vision and a purpose. Yes. So my time is up. I'm Dr. Cass. Thank you guys so much.
So why are you adding to it? Right? By not wanting to chase them down. So sometimes we can look at a person and we can say, oh, they look like they're such and such a person. They're this and they're that and the other. But you don't know that person's story. So the whole thing is that we get to look at why do we have the perspective that we have. And so I love it because it's called check your chicken. Right? Check your chicken. whenever I first started talking to people about this, they started talking about, oh, I know so-and-so, I gotta tell them because I know they need to handle something. No, how about your chicken, okay? Okay, I had a minister that once said, he said, when you point one finger, you got full boy pointing back at you. So when you get ready to do all of that, you need to check yourself. So unsuccessful mindsets, captivating, and strongholds. And this is where I really wanted to go with strongholds, is because that was a stronghold for me. I had gotten over a lot of stuff, but that I had not gotten over. And it wasn't, and that's what kept me, when I told you 15 months, that was what I had to uncover, was an absolute stronghold. So what was captivating my mind was that feeling of not being worthy, that feeling of I'm not good enough. And it took a minute to have to go through there. So we talked about the words. I'm just a little review. And what we look at is, how do I change the perspective so that I can have healing, right? So how my story ends is just my father passed away about, maybe it's like 2 years now. And so I found out he was sick, and just how even I found that out was he just happened to be talking to him on the phone. And he was a person that, even when he came back into my life at 16, the relationship wasn't good. Because I kept looking for him to apologize. I wanted to know why he left me. How could you leave me? What was going on? He never had a good reason. He didn't want to talk about it because for him, I don't know, it was an area that he just decided that that's how he dealt with it. He was just going to move on, right? So as long as I kept looking for that apology, as long as I kept looking for that explanation, I was staying unhappy. So nothing could happen. So we had a quasi-relationship for I think he came back in my life, I was 16, and so like I said, it's about 2 years ago that we had this conversation. So I'm getting ready to go to California, Vegas, where he was living, and I'm gonna see him, and I'm on the plane, and I'm saying, this is gonna be my last moment, because I know, he may be dying, so I'm gonna get my answers. I'm gonna ask him straight up. And I'm not taking no for an answer. Why did you leave? How could you stay gone all that time? And how come you didn't seem to be overly thrilled about getting back in touch with us, right? Just as clear, God is going, no, you're not. Yes, I am, because this is going to be my last chance. I got to do this. So sort of like that little video, no, I'm going to do this my way, because I'm saying, he's like, no, you're not. I listened, and I actually ended up having a conversation with him, and what the question that he had me ask my father was, tell me about your life. Tell me about your childhood. And I knew some of the story, but what his story was is that his mother died when he was like 3 or 4 years old. He didn't have nurturing in his life. So you can't give what you don't have, right? Unless you find it for yourself, right? So he couldn't give that, right? And his mother died, and he was, all his brothers and sisters, they were all shipped all over the country and staying with different relatives and everything. And he got to one point in the story, and he said that he said, I must have done something bad, because the next thing I know, I was shipped to New York. That resonated with my soul and my heart, because I thought I had done something bad at 7 to make him leave. He thought he had done something bad that made him get shipped to another family. He was just a hurt child inside also, who never took the time to get that spot healed so that he could look at things from a different perspective. That time was so healing for me that I was able to say, oh my gosh, look at all the years that I wasted looking for something that I didn't need from him. Because I only had a different perspective of putting myself in his shoes and realizing that he could not give what he didn't have. I say this for you, you can't give what you don't have. So all of the relationships, all of the things that you've gone through in your life, you have the opportunity to take a different perspective and look at it. And that's what's called checking your chicken. Come on, this beat is just absolute. Come on, get up, do a little wiggle for me. Come on, stand up, stand up. Come on, come on, come on. Yes. Come on, y'all know how to act. Stop acting like y'all don't know. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Okay, now here's the line, Chicken heads, be quiet. All the chicken heads, be quiet. Hey! All right. That's why that song is, I love that. I was dancing with that song for years. Whenever that song come on the party, yes. Knees don't want to cooperate, but that's all right. But yes, the chicken heads, be quiet. You gotta talk to the chicken that's talking in your head, in your ear. And let me tell you, here's how the story, I found this story, I heard the story being taught, and it was just so powerful that I put it into my first book, which is called Lead Powerfully From Within. And it is the story of an eagle and a chicken. So the eagle egg was taken from the forest and brought to a farm and put on that farm and put under a hen and raised as a chicken. So as you see, my chicken, the eagle, he's happy. We're happy. He's just being raised as a chicken. He's living a chicken life. That's all he knows, right? And then, but every time he would look and see eagles flying, there'd be something that would be like, I feel like I could do that. I feel like I could do that. They're flying. I'm here on the ground, but I feel like there's something that I'm connected with them or socially, right? Now, every time that eagle started trying to walk, trying to look like it could fly, then other chickens would have, and these are your 3 ways that people will react to you when you start trying to talk about your bigness of your dream, of your vision. So you have the ones that'll laugh on the side there. They'll just laugh. Yeah, right. Who are you? Jesus Christ was said he couldn't do any work in his own town, right? Because people know who they think they know who you are, right? So then the other ones, they're gonna be mad. I think Andreen was the one that said, why you mad? Why you gonna be mad at people? Because they doing the daggone thing, right? Why? Right? But that's the reaction you're gonna get, so be aware. And then you have the ones that are just gonna be indifferent. I have friends now that when I call them and I'm trying to tell them about my confidence and doing different things and everything, and they're like, yeah, girl. Well, so and so and so and so. Okay. Make you feel like you're, like you're bothering them, or they don't want to hear that. But that's what happens to eagles. Okay, so recognize. So what do you want to be, an eagle or a chicken? So what happens is eventually that eagle ends up flying. But the only way it could fly was it had to check that chicken. And see, and the analogy is that we're born in this world. Andrew, you was talking, I was like, girl, stop telling my story. But we're born in this world. Things happen to us. We take wrong turns. We make mistakes. We have people that deliberately and intentionally will hurt you. And then we have people like the situation with my father that unintentionally hurt you. But you get to take that, you get to look at that and say, oh, all of those things, again, with the disease of busyness and all those things are distractions to keep you from not connecting with the eagle. Okay? Not connecting with your vision, not connecting to fly. So this is why you gotta always be in constant relationship with yourself. All right? So that moment of doing the vision boards, that was 5 minutes, that was like 35 minutes of you taking time to get in connection with yourself and be in alignment with your mind, body, soul, and spirit. See, because you got mind, body, soul, and spirit, but if the mind's here, the soul's here, the heart's there, yeah, things aren't going to gel. So you have to be in alignment with your mind, body, soul, and spirit. That's why intentional. I think I'm going to make that my one word. Be intentional. I didn't pick it in January, but I'm picking it now. Be intentional about everything that you do. Because the world is designed to keep you as a chicken.
Yes. I like that.
As Andreen said, you are born with gifts and talents. You are born with potential. You are born, and potential is energy. And I love all this stuff that I hated in school is now coming back to make sense. But energy, potential energy, and then you have your actual energy, right? And so that kinetic, come on, bioengineer, right? So you got to turn that energy into, first of all, recognizing what are your triggers, what's going on with you inside that's causing you to do the things that you do. Now, everything that we do is based on what happened to us, right? Everything, our perspective is all based on that. Sometimes you have to be in a certain perspective because that's what you need to do to survive, right? We'll be in, I'm sure when you were in jail, in the prison system, you have to do some things to protect your mind because you've got to survive. When I was without my father, looking down the street, looking at different people, I had to survive. I had to think of things differently. So decisions that I made may have put me in a different mindset to maybe not make the right decision because I was looking for that love, right? That I was missing from my father, all right? So how do you get to check your chicken? First of all, you got to realize that you got him. You got to realize that you got him. And then I love this picture because all the chickens are in the chicken coop. So we got to get them in the chicken coop. So who are your chickens? And how do you recognize them? And as I said, don't get to the point of thinking that it's about somebody else's chicken. Because I'm going to tell you, if you hear this and you think of somebody, think about why you're thinking of that person. Because it's probably something that's either a trigger or it's a similarity. All right? So you better check your chicken. How you recognize them? Well, first of all, let me tell you something. These damn chickens are happy. They are happy. These mindsets, these negative mindsets that we get, because we hear them from the time we're kids. Some people, didn't grow up in nurturing environments where you were told you how wonderful you were and all of that. And then even if you were, you got outside of your home and you had people who was telling you, you ain't all that in a bag of chips, right? So why are your chickens happy? And that's because they are used to running things. I've had my chickens around a long daggone time. I told you I'm gonna be 65 and I got some old chickens. I'm not old, but my chickens are. But they have had the opportunity to try to take root in my life. And thank goodness I've been one of those people that always wanted to figure out how to get their butts out of there. They've been in charge for a long time because your chicken mindset directs your actions. Remember I said words direct your habits, direct your values, and your destiny? Okay? So if you're not seeing that, then you can't change it. They know the landscape very well. And I'm just going to tell you that as you walk out today and you start looking for your chickens and you start recognizing them, they also know hiding places. Okay? Because you've been in situations where you've been motivated before. And you may have done a few things to move ahead. And then the chickens come back because they come out of their hiding place. Because you came looking for them and they was like, hot dogs, I know that corner in the back there. Yeah, I'm going to make you think you got rid of me, but I'm coming over there. So, yeah, they know the landscape. And they have a lot of other chickens. They're a posse. That's what I said. If you look at somebody else and you want to check their chicken, I said, believe you better go on back and say, okay now, that's got something to do more with me than with them.
All right.
Okay? Because it's all about what you are doing, what you're putting up. So here are some of the chicken mindsets, and this is just I just think it's a funny way for you to understand mindsets. So it's meant as a chicken menu. Okay, so everybody loves chicken. So as Dr. Cass told you, part of the beginning of the story is because on my first tour, going out with her and selling my book, they said as a speaker, you got to tell a story, right? So I'm like, okay, chicken and eagle story. It's easy, I can do that, all right? So I can tell that. And then it was like, wait a minute, that's even bigger, needs to be developed more. And so even as they gave me, insight into looking at the chicken menu, finding out where I could find chickens to be made, because you saw my chickens are very cute, right? Because I can't have no old chickens. But, excuse me, when you look at it, when you look at the mindset, you get to see the chicken menu and how it relates to your chicken mindset. So it makes it easier. But when I went to develop them, that was journaling, that was writing, that was talking to God, that was getting the way to have it put together to make some sense to me. Okay? Because trust and believe. They say you always teach what you need to know. You better act like you know. I know about these daggone chickens. And there's 13 of them, and honey, trust me, lately, there's been some other ones that's been coming up. But chicken strips, okay? So chicken strips is when you don't know your value, all right? And so you see that chicken, she's got a mirror. So that feeling, that mirror is her view of herself is distorted because she feels unworthy. So unworthiness is one of those mental perceptions that will keep you, holding you back from living your dream, right? So you've got to be able to change that mirror image that you're looking at. Chicken and gravy.
Hey.
All right. So chicken and gravy is no boundaries. When you don't have good, healthy boundaries, what kind of mindset is that? Usually it's a people-pleasing mindset. Because you want to make everybody happy, so everybody just kind of walks all over your space and everything, okay? So they tell you in ways that, your value doesn't matter, only theirs does. And a lot of times just for us to feel love will allow that to happen. Compound chicken. So that's my angry chicken. That's that angry mindset. That's a blaming mindset where you really feel like everybody's against you, right? Because the world's against you, society's against you, and everybody's against you. Yeah, but if God before you, who can be against you?
All right, that's the word.
That's the word. You better change your mindset with some words. You okay? Who can be against you? So everything this is coming from an anger perspective, so you're so upset about everything, like I said with my dad. Sweet and sour chicken. That's when you're moody, inconsistent. So you want to do business with somebody, but they don't know what person they're going to meet today.
All right.
Because your mindset is, well, today I just feel like I got an attitude. Okay, so the best of the world better get ready. I love the phrase, I am who I am. Well, you can stay there, or you can be who you want to be. Okay? Who God called you to be. Thank you, amen. Go on over there. That's right. That's right. Be who He called you to be, or you can say, I am who I am, and usually that just keeps you stuck in that position, right? So that inconsistency just doesn't work. So, boneless chicken. Okay? That's no spine. No spine. Somebody said if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything, right?
Yes.
So, but here's what I love about and I call this my ineffective chimoji. So my chickens are chimojis, okay? So it's an ineffective chimoji, right? Because they really have a good heart. That's a mindset that you really got a good heart, but you don't stand up for yourself. You don't stand up for what you know is right, what you know you should be doing. You don't stand up for yourself, right? But you got a good heart for everybody else. You'll do for everybody else, but you won't do anything for yourself. Chicken nuggets. So chicken nuggets, when you're thinking small. Thinking small. Okay? So when you eat your next thinking chicken nuggets, go, my feelings small.
Come on.
When you get ready to live in that vision, some of those things that you've been putting on your vision board, when you're looking at that thing and you go, "Ooh, I'm not ready," don't pull out the chicken nuggets, okay? They're not on sale. Rotisserie chicken. Rotisserie chicken is just when you keep going around and around, doing the same thing over. You expect different results.
Come on now.
Okay? So you sitting here and you like, look, you took a first step, you're here today. But don't go home tomorrow and start doing the same thing you've been doing, because then you're just going to be some rotisserie chicken. And I love it because he's just going around and around. And see, the chickens are happy. Beer battered chicken. This is just chicken that just beat up by life. They just have succumbed to the horrors of their life. The perspectives that they say that makes them feel like that they've just been beaten up by life and they just give up. And I know we've all had those. I've had those moments where I'm just like, you know what, I'm done. You know, when I was a teenager, at one point in time, my life felt so crazy that I contemplated suicide. That's insane. What would happen? Look at what happened to my life that I wouldn't have had if I would have succumbed to that. So beer battered chicken, you may be in that space, but don't ever stay in that space, because there's so much more. Stewed chicken. This one of my favorites. Yeah, I like to do this one.
I like that.
So this is when you just in your own way. You stew in your own juices. Okay? You talk about being in your way. So much so that you will actually stop opportunities from happening for you. So if you see my girl, she's sitting in a hot tub. What happens to chicken when you put it in hot water?
It's cooked.
It's cooked. It's boiled. It's done. So you keep sabotaging. People coming up to you and giving you opportunities. They're telling you ideas. They're sharing. They're trying to make connection with you. And you sitting up there going, "I'm in the hot tub. I'm good. I'm good." Self-sabotage. Chicken salad. Just cold. Just cold. Just cold. When you get that mindset, when you just like, yeah, whatever, you know, you want to be judgmental on everything and everybody. Everything got to pass through your prism of what you see and do. Yeah, okay. And then, so you can't allow for someone to be different than you. You can't allow that a person who may not look like you, sound like you, or think like you might have something to offer you, because you're all up in your judgment piece. Just chicken salad. Okay? And that's just no love, okay? So, jerk chicken. Jerk chicken. Just manipulating circumstances, because when you can't get your way about doing some things, we're very creative. And especially if we're in survival mode, we're very creative. You got to figure out how to get people to do what you need them to do, right? Whether it's good for you or not, right? So you're out there and you're just manipulating situations with other people. And guess what? You're manipulating your own mindset, because you're telling yourself that that's the only way you could get something. Instead of standing up for yourself and saying, you know what, this is what I believe, whether it's right or not. But you know what? Let me be willing to learn. But you know what? Let me stand up for myself in my truth. Okay? Because see, we can all be very dishonest with ourselves. Like I told you, when Dr. Cass asked me about when she was trying to encourage me to do my conference, I practiced a very good speech. And I thought it was very good. Because I was busy, I was doing this, I was doing that, I didn't really have money, I don't know if people come, but I have all of this stuff. So yeah, sometimes we're our own jerk chicken, because you're jerking your own self around. Bourbon chicken. Listen, you just a badass chicken, you just bad. That's sometimes our overconfidence. And overconfidence is just as bad as being underconfident, right?
Say that.
Because you can sit there and you can say, oh, well, you know what? I don't need anybody. Yeah. Well, you know what? When God created Adam, He created Eve as a
All
helpmeet
right.
because he knew he couldn't do it by himself.
Right.
That was the beginning of human connection. We are all connected. So don't think you're getting anywhere by yourself. You need to, but it's give and take. It's creating a win-win. That's what I call win-wins, right? So don't want that mindset where you think you can do it all alone. Big chicken. And this is when you just done. You just done. You keep doing the same thing, whether it's working, whether it's not working. And I love to say that because this one comes with procrastination is what I feel like this one really covers, because I'm gonna. I'm finna. I'm gonna. At one point in time, my husband told me, he said, oh, I'm gonna change her name to the I'm gonna girl. You know I was mad. Right? Dear, you're supposed to be my side and everything like that. But he was telling the truth because I kept saying, I'm gonna. So procrastination is just when you're so baked, you're so caught up in your comfortable space that your mindset won't even allow you to feel intentional. It won't allow you to feel that time may be running out. We don't have all our lives. You've got, I have a video with that, but you don't have, time is our friend, but time is also our enemy, right? Because if you keep thinking you can do tomorrow, how many days did you waste until you got till tomorrow? When I find out, and not that that's a place that you should feel bad about, but hey, all the years I could have been doing something, I didn't. Right. So what can you do? The first thing is you gotta check your chicken.
All right.
Okay? And to check your chicken, the Y.U.R, and it's so funny how this came about, is check why you are acting like a chicken. Mm-hmm. So when stuff ain't working, or you getting all frustrated, or you get, so I know every last one of them. So you gotta check why you're acting like a chicken. So here's some of the things, these are just some tools you could just take away today and say, breathing. Now I want everybody to just take a moment and just take a deep breath in, hold it for a second and go out, okay? So we're gonna take a deep breath. And release it. Do one more. What's the feeling that you get with that? Momentary relief, momentary peace. And sometimes that's all you need when you're in the midst of the madness. Okay? When the madness is happening, because the madness is going to be here. Okay? So when you're in the midst of the madness and everything, take a moment and breathe. 3 deep breaths. It's awesome. Meditation. I did not think I had the mindset for meditation. But meditation actually works. And what I did was I went on YouTube, and that's why Google's my friend. And so is YouTube. So I went on YouTube and found 10-minute meditations, because I couldn't do much more than that. I am so thrilled. Right now, I'm like up to like 30, 40 minutes of doing meditation. Playing music. That's when I do my music. Having your meditation. Take time to be with yourself. Take time to experience yourself. Because if you don't get to know who you are, you're going to do today that's going to make a difference. So what are you going to do? What behaviors, what's the mindset that's going to give you the results you want? So when you see these chickens acting up, what's the mindset you need at that moment? So if you're feeling unworthy, what's that mindset that you need to get out of that? Okay? So you might need some I am cards. You might need some mirror time. Okay, so that's what you need to get out of that. So what do you need to deal with that moment? And this is just talking about procrastination.
We're all given a certain amount of time to experience life, to carry out our dreams, our destiny. But we don't realize that the time bar of our life can only grow smaller from today going forward. Let that sink in. You can't buy time. You can't grow time. You can't ask for more time. You can only lose time. And after we lose time, we have no idea how much time we even have left. Our lifespan is a mystery. See, being human is a double-edged sword because although we have so much time compared to other species, We give ourselves too much time to accomplish what needs to be done. The idea of having so much more time to accomplish things makes us waste time. We abuse it. It feeds our lack of action. It makes us too comfortable. Now, we all aim to succeed, to prosper, to become a diamond in a world full of rocks. But there's no evolutionary pressure to help us. And that's where the mind shift needs to take place. You need to create a pressure for yourself to become that diamond. And the way that you do that is by understanding the value of time. Stop killing time, because eventually that turns around and time is going to kill you. You have the power to prevent time loss. You have the power to prevent wasted time. But you also have the power to kill time. And many of us are doing that. Before we make decisions, before we act, we need to think about how we're spending our time. We need to focus on what we want to accomplish. What makes the heart burn with passion? What wakes us up in the morning? What's your why? Time is the most valuable resource we have. I can save money for later. I can't do that with my time. I can invest in more money. I can't do that with time. I can share my money. I still can't do that with time. Stop damaging your lifespan. Sooner or later, you're going to realize that the only thing you wish you had more of is time. But it's what you use the worst. I want to see the transformation of how we use our time. I want to see habit change, the appreciation of the time that you're given, your dream. I want you to pause the next time you find yourself wasting time on things that damage you, and think about why you've decided to shrink your lifespan. You're actually killing yourself. It's not a joke, because you can't recycle the time you waste. So use your time and make time work for you. Start living the life of your dreams, because it's possible. Pressure builds diamonds, so put up that fight. Don't give in to fear. Don't give in to anxiety. Keep fighting. Keep moving forward. Keep believing. Your dream is yours. Don't let anybody else stop you. You've got 86,400 seconds. How you use it today is all that matters. And you've got to do it again and again and again to soon be living the life of your dreams. You will get there because it's your dream. You've got to work today, so tomorrow you can be one step closer to it again and again and again. I promise you will get there. Of spending time wisely, because while you're killing time, time is killing you.
Powerful. Good. Don't waste your time. If you don't leave with anything else today, know that every minute, every second is important to your what's next. So how do you get to live your what's next? And what I do as a life architect and success engineer is I help people design extraordinary lives by connecting their passion to their purpose. So I'm going to offer for you today the opportunity to be able to work with me, and what I offer is a 90-day transformation. Now remember, I told you about my 30-90 days, so I'm not selling you a bag of goods, okay? So in 90 days, you're not going to be everything that you need to be, but I guarantee you that in 90 days, you will be better than what you are today, okay? You will be that much closer to what you need today. So what I offer is bi-weekly sessions. It's a 3-month program. We meet every other week. It's 75 minutes for each session. We've got 15-minute calls in between each week that we're not meeting, and we get to connect and really drill down to what are the perspectives that you may be holding on to? What are the chicken mindsets that you may be holding on to that are stopping you from realizing your dreams? Okay? So we get to, in 6 sessions, we get to see what's your story, because that's how the mind works. You tell a story. I had a story that my father didn't love me. It had nothing to do with me. Half of the stuff that you really believe today is not because it has anything to do with you, but it's the story that you told yourself. So what you have to do is redesign your story.
Yes.
So you have to understand where your story comes from, and then you get to redesign that story so that you have a different perspective, and then you can take that jump. From last year to this year is like, whoa. I went from, I'm not doing a conference, I got every good reason why I'm not, to being on a 7-city tour. Stop playing. It's all up in here, and this is where you just get the results you're looking for. You get to clarify your vision, diagnose your chickens, okay? How many people resonated with some of those chickens?
Yeah.
Okay. So see, I know, my chickens know your chickens, okay? So I'm here to tell you, okay? I can help you find where they are hiding, all right? So you get to tell yourself the new story, and we get to implement recessions. So its program is usually $9.97, but for today only it's $6.97, and it's, like I said, 6 sessions. But you can do 3 payments of $249, and we can take that, today. But you get to make a decision that time is what you're not going to waste anymore, and you get to make a difference. So if you're not ready to go in and find out your main chickens and figure out what's going on, and you may be a little ahead, maybe you started working on some of your chickens. Well, I offer a consultation, which is a 1-hour meeting, and we get to look and see what's going on with you, and maybe we can develop some steps, we can develop some steps to what's your what's next, okay? And that's usually $197, and now today it's $97. But we can get to talk, and we have that conversation. If you're not ready for that, I got books for you. I got something for you today, okay? So I have my book, Lead Powerfully from Within. Originally, this book was written to nursing leadership. So I have a lot of nursing connotations in there. But after writing it, what I realized is that, no, this is really just about life. This is about how I figured it out, and how having that self-reflection, what the main thing that hit me was, every time I was able to make a transformative moment in my life, it was because I took that time and said, okay, let's make an assessment. What happened? I picked the first husband. He was a real jerk. So what? Then I picked the second boyfriend. He was a jerk. Then now by the third one, I was like, okay, so Naomi, what's the common denominator in this madness? Me. So it wasn't until I took time to figure out why was I choosing the kind of man I was choosing. So it's not just about business, it's about your life. Then I was able to get some insight into what needed to be changed about myself. That was when I was able to get with my husband, who actually we had been together, broke up, and then got back together. That's a whole other story. But in June, we'll be married 32 years. Happily married for 32 years. Yes. Thank you. Because it can happen. But I had to change. Because if I came to him, we had already been together. I was coming to him with that same old madness. And it wasn't working. So he was just in the goodbye list. But when I had to check my chicken, then I was able to do it. So this is where I really talk about self-reflection, aligning your mind, body, soul, and spirit. This is a lot of the basis in that. Check your chicken. It's coming. The book. The book, the movie, the Check Your Chicken book is coming. It is in work. It's in a work in progress right now. My expected date of completion is going to be the end of May. And so if you want to pre-order the book, if you pre-order today, it's still going to be $15. If you order after, it's $16.99 plus shipping and handling. So we can save you a couple of all of that. All right?
Yeah.
Are you going to be a chicken or eagle? So I thank you guys so much You know, I would love, thank you for helping me live my vision. I see in the eyes of a lot of you that something resonated. Even if it wasn't from me, it was from Dr. Cass, it was from Andreen, Dr. Bo, it was from Tierra. Something resonated for you today. And that's my vision. That's my vision. So I thank you. I thank you for just being part of that for me. Because, and now my wish for you is to just take it and do something with it. Make sure that you get to look at the person you want to become. Look at who you get to be. You get to be powerful, extraordinary. Hot dog. Y'all be inviting me to your stuff. I want to be in the penthouse. After you meet Jerry Jones or whoever that was, y'all invite me, whatever. You know, when y'all on the book tour, when y'all do the movie, consider me for a small part. I had an acting like bug inside. So, you know, I really just thank you all, you guys, for coming. So I'm going to do a raffle. And then we're going to just be around for a few minutes. Please visit our vendors again. Delrisha from Paparazzi Jewelry, and she's donating something for our raffle. And Brianna has some things for you, so please, you know, support the vendors. And make sure we get some books because... I'm going to give off to you. Oh, okay. We have Mind, Body, Soul, and Spirit represented here. Take advantage. Get to meet somebody. Meet somebody that you didn't walk in here with. Make that connection. All right, so here goes the raffles. Taylor, come baby. Please help me. And just read off that. Oh, wait. I need to put it in something, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
She's not ready.
I was just going to take it. No, I know, right? I was going to, how's that work, right? I'm like forgetting how to do a daggone raffle. What the heck? Did y'all enjoy today?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and one thing I would ask, Joy's going to give you out some evaluations. I would appreciate your feedback, good, bad, and different. I am over not having to hear things that are negative. I'm good. But if it's feedback, genuine feedback of something that could be done better, or that you would like to see more in the next, you know, any other conferences, please let me know.
Or that Cassandra should have more time.
Then I'm gonna have to buy a new time for Dr. Cass, okay? But yeah, so I really would like the feedback. And also, if you got a few minutes and everything, I'm gonna have Joy's gonna be ready. We're gonna just have a little video. I would love video testimonials, you know, of something that you got from today's conference, and that would really bless me a lot. So right now, no, it's okay. Okay. Oh, you did all this? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the number is 465-462.
Now, I know somebody got that number.